Chapter 256, Unexpected Surprise. Investigating Sundalian's past. Why the living conditions of Gooden's family were average in the village, with 5 earthen houses and the living room located in the middle. It was dinner time, and the whole family was gathered in the living room. Seeing Yang come over, Gooden's grandparents warmly stood up. Yang is here. Come sit, old man, hurry and fetch some candy from the room. The elderly often stash away some treats. Gooden's grandpa immediately went to get some candy. If it were anyone else, they wouldn't be willing to give away their candies, but Yang was different. Yang was their little lucky star in the village. Yang sat down. Uncles and aunties, grandparents, you don't have to be so polite, I just came to talk about something. Gooden's father brought over a new set of bowls and chopsticks. Talk after you eat, talk after you eat. Nothing is more important than eating. Han Xiaoqin picked up an extra pair of chopsticks and gave Yang a piece of meat. Yang, have some meat. It might not be as good as what you make, don't mind it. In this era, meat was something people couldn't afford to buy at 2 yuan per pound. Gooden's family had many children, making their living circumstances even harder. They barely had meat to eat throughout the year. They only dared to buy some meat this time because Gooden's dad had worked for half a month at Yang's shop and earned 120 yuan, so they purchased some meat for everyone to enjoy on this snowy day. Gooden's family was extremely warm and hospitable, so Yang picked up her chopsticks and ate a piece of meat, which was just common courtesy. If she didn't eat at all, wouldn't it be a waste of their kind intentions? The meat was very delicious. It melted in the mouth and was not greasy at all. Auntie Han, your cooking skills are very good. Having received Yang's praise, Han Xiaoqin couldn't stop smiling. Gooden's grandpa handed a bunch of candies to Yang. Yang quickly took them with both hands. Thank you, Grandpa. Gooden's grandpa laughed heartily and said, Don't be shy with Grandpa. Yang continued, Auntie Han, I came here to discuss something with you. Han Xiaoqin said, Yang, just say what's on your mind. Don't be so polite with Auntie. As long as it is something that Auntie can do, I will definitely help you. Yang smiled and proceeded to invite Han Xiaoqin to work at the milk tea shop. The salary is the same as Auntie Zhou and Aunt Jinfeng, 60 yuan a month. If you think that's suitable, you can start work the day after tomorrow. Upon hearing this, Gooden's grandparents both stood up in excitement. 60 yuan a month. Even a steady job in the city wouldn't have such a high salary. Han Xiaoqin excitedly said, Perfect. It's just perfect. Yang, Annie doesn't know how to thank you. Yang said, You don't have to be like this. It's the same no matter who I hire. So it's settled then, and I need to go to Xiaowa's house next to discuss this matter with Xiaowa's mom. Gooden's grandparents as well as his parents all escorted Yang out of their home together. Watching Yang walk away, Gooden's grandma sighed, Yang is such a thoughtful girl. All of you children should learn from Yang. Even when you become successful in the future, you must never forget this kindness. The children all nodded their heads. If it were any other day, they'd definitely be unwilling to listen. But they had no choice but to listen today. After all, it was Yang they were talking about. In all of Jinghua village, where could you find another person like Yang? After leaving Gooden's house, Yang visited Xiaowa's house, and without a doubt, she received the best treatment in the entire village. When she came back, Xiaowa's grandma insisted on giving Yang a large bottle of fresh milk. Fearing that Yang might refuse, Xiaowa's mom, Wang Zuiping, accompanied Yang all the way to the NIS house. Upon reaching the courtyard, Wang Zuiping placed the bottle of milk on the ground and left. She knew that if she didn't leave, Yang would definitely stuff a bunch of return gifts to her. Yang called out watching Wang Zuiping's retreating figure, Aunt Zuiping, be careful on the road. Wang Zuiping replied with a laugh, Don't worry, I know the roads in the village like the back of my hand. I could find my way home even with my eyes closed. After she got home, Yang made a spicy hot pot base, poured freshly made bone soup into a copper pot, sprinkled some scallions and cilantro on it to complete her red oil soup. As she brought the copper pot to the table, Zuihua brought the prepared ingredients to the table. There were fresh vegetables, beef and mutton, shrimp paste, duck's blood, enoki mushrooms, catfish and so on. Because Ni Chingay and Ni Zihua could drink, Ni Yang also warmed 2 bottles of ginger rice wine. While a heavy snow fell outside, the 3 of them sat in the house enjoying the hot pot. The ambience was extremely warm and cozy. Because the milk tea shop was about to open, Ni Yang did some promotion in the noodle restaurant the next day. The next day, the milk tea shop next door officially opened. Because it had snowed the night before, Ni Yang went early to clear the snow in front of the shop. As she parked, a tall figure emerged from the side. Yang. Ni Yang was taken aback. Brother Mo? It was just after 3 in the morning, and Ni Yang was surprised to see Mo Chishan there. Mo Chishan smiled and said, I knew about your opening today, so my mom asked me to come over and wish you well, and help out. Ni Yang asked, Brother Mo, how did you know my milk tea shop is opening today? Mo Chishan mysteriously said, Do you think it's hard to know this? It really wasn't difficult to know, as she had promoted it in the noodle restaurant just yesterday. Mo Chishan added, Let's not stand here like fools, let's go in. Oh right. Ni Yang led Mo Chishan into the shop. Mo Chishan was someone who knew how to take initiative. He found a broom straight away. Men are supposed to do the outside work, while women handle the inside. Yang, you just take care of the tasks inside. It'll clear the outside snow. Finished speaking, he didn't give Ni Yang a chance to refuse and carried the broom outside. There was indeed a lot to do on the first day of opening, so Ni Yang didn't stand on ceremony. When Ni Yang finished her tasks inside and came out, she found that Mo Chishan had not only cleared all the snow but also built 2 huge snowmen. Ni Yang said in surprise, Brother Mo, you're pretty quick. Mo Chishan casually replied, What's a bit of work for a man? It's nothing. Marcus and Morris, who were sitting in the car, silently took credit for the work. It was all worth it as long as the boss was happy. Chapter 257, Mysterious Boss Tricks Xianxia. Rescuing Boss and I understood. At this point, the snow outside had stopped. Mo Chishan somehow found 2 large red scarves to put on the snowmen. These 2 snowmen, standing at the entrance of the milk tea shop, were attracting a lot of attention as if they were welcoming guests. Ni Yang touched one snowman, then the other, exclaiming, Brother Mo, you're amazing. Ni Yang had hands that could heal and cook delicious dishes, could make all kinds of skincare products, but when it came to building snowmen, she was the kind of person who would fail as soon as she tried, despite knowing how to theoretically. If she were tasked with building such a large snowman, she wouldn't be able to do a good job even given a whole day. Mentioning this, Mo Chishan modestly touched his nose tip, replying, It's okay, just okay. Ni Yang went on to say, Brother Mo, I made breakfast, come eat with me. It was only a little past 4 o'clock, and she knew Mo Chishan hadn't eaten yet, so during the lull in her cleanup, she made some breakfast. When Mo Chishan heard there was food, his eyes lit up, replying, Great. The 2 then entered the noodle restaurant. Ni Yang placed the cooked breakfast on the table. Steamy milk tea, a couple of sunny-side-up eggs, and a bowl of fragrant sour fish noodles. The surface of the noodles was evenly covered with a thin layer of sour fish, making it a mouth-watering, delectable dish. As Mo Chishan sat down for breakfast, he asked, Yang, aren't you eating? Ni Yang took a sip of her milk tea, replying, I've already eaten at home, a cup of milk tea is enough for me. Mo Chishan ate his meal slowly but with grace. Even when eating noodles, not a single sound could be heard. He was quiet and elegant. Ni Yang just sat across from him, drinking her milk tea and chatting with him. Soon, Mo Chishan finished his bowl of noodles, saying, Yang, I'm done. Brother Mo, Ni Yang suddenly stood up. Don't move. What's wrong? Mo Chishan was taken aback. Ni Yang leaned closer to him. The light from the window seemed to drape her in a soft glow, making her seem radiant and surreal. Mo Chishan blanked out, his heart beating erratically, with the only sound he could focus on being the pounding of his own heartbeat. In between his breaths, he could feel a warm breath. The air seemed to hold a mysterious tension. Mo Chishan was too stunned to move. He even held his breath in fear. The next second, Ni Yang reached out her hand, the cooling feeling of her fingertips lightly brushed against Emo Kishin's lips. You have a piece of spring onion here. A piece of spring onion. He couldn't believe that Shed got his heart fluttering so much, just to remove a piece of spring onion. For a moment he thought Enai Yang was going to kiss him. Hopefully, the spring onion didn't ruin his image in her eyes. Emo Chishin's cheeks instantly turned pink as he stuttered, Thank you. You're welcome. Enai Yang replied with a small smile. Emo Chishin followed Enai Yang to the kitchen. Yang, let me help you make the milk tea. They busied themselves in the kitchen, and soon Zhou Qingshang, Wang Jinfang, Han Xiaoqin, and Wang Cuiping arrived. Since it was Han Xiaoqin and Wang Kuiping's first day of work, and they were unfamiliar with many things, Enai Yang went to the milk tea shop to guide them. Emo Chishin, on the other hand, offered to stay and help at the noodle restaurant. In fact, he wanted to go to the milk tea shop with Enai Yang, but he wanted to leave a good impression on her even more. At 6 o'clock in the morning, New York Milk Tea officially opened. This time, Emo Chishin, like before, had carpets and flower baskets delivered, which attracted quite the crowd. The milk tea was only 3 cents a cup and it tasted good. Plus, because it was the first day of operation, there was a buy one get one free promotion which led to a long queue forming. Even people who'd merely walked past and had never tried milk tea before couldn't help but stop and queue up for a cup. The milk tea was pre-made, and the tapioca pearls were also pre-cooked. This made serving each cup particularly fast. Even those in queue didn't have to wait for long. Only in one morning, Enai Yang had sold over 2,000 cups. The business from the neighboring noodle restaurant was also booming. To celebrate the opening of the milk tea shop, Enai Yang bought a roast duck from the roast duck store, 3 pounds of braised pork and some vegetables from the braised pork shop. She also made a large pot of sour fish noodles. They ate the meat with the noodles, and with 6 people at the table, they had a joyous meal. Emo Chishin didn't leave until night time when they closed for the day. Enai Yang followed him out to send him off, saying, Brother Emo, thank you so much for today. Chapter 258. Mysterious Boss Tricks Zheng Xianjing, Rescuing Boss Enai_2. Emo Chishin was pushing his bicycle with one hand, while he couldn't help but ruffle her hair with the other. No need to thank me. Seeing that Enai Yang didn't show any signs of disgust, Emo Chishin, gathering up his courage, ruffled her hair again. Soft and fluffy, like a little kitten. Finally able to touch his wife's head, Emo Chishin narrowed his satisfied eyes. Arriving at the fork in the road, Emo Chishin stopped. Yang, I'll leave you here. Go back quickly, it's too dark, and it's dangerous for a girl like you. Enai Yang nodded. Then Brother Emo, I'll go back first. Emo Chishin waved at her. Go ahead. Watching Enai Yang's retreating figure, Emo Chishin took out a cigarette from his pocket and lit it slowly. The little girl is really capable. She'd been driving him crazy all over. A day without seeing her feels like madness. Nowadays, every passing minute without her feels the same way to him. After finishing a cigarette, Emo Chishin pushed his bicycle forward. Uncle Emma. A string of footsteps came from behind. Zheng Xianjing caught up with him quickly. Uncle Emo, it's such a coincidence to meet you here this late. In the dim night, his handsome features were enveloped in a layer of gentle mist, making him appear mysterious and distinguished, which nearly made Zheng Xianjing infatuated. Nowadays, men with good looks and status were becoming increasingly rare. She had to hold on to him tightly. Emo Chishin couldn't be bothered with her, not even giving a sideways glance to Zheng Xianjing. But Zheng Xianjing wasn't discouraged. She cooed, Uncle Emo, it's so dark now, it's not safe for me to be alone on the road. Could you give me a ride home? Surely, at this late hour, Emo Chishin wouldn't have the heart to let her walk home alone. Soon he would be riding his bike with her. The scenario would definitely be as romantic as watching a movie. Just thinking about it, Zheng Xianjing felt extremely flattered. This is the famous Mr. Mog. Thankfully she had good vision. She hadn't overlooked him like Zhao Jingrong. No. Emo Chishin flatly refused, his tone slightly cold. Uncle Emo, Zheng Xianjing tugged at Emo Chishin's sleeve, starting to flirt. It's said that it's harder for a man to win a woman's heart than for a woman to win a man's. She firmly believed she would move Mo Qixin's heart. Let go of me. Mo Qixin swatted Zheng Xianjing's hand away, looking back at her. As a girl, don't you have any sense of shame? Making a scene in public, tugging and pulling at a man, what does that make you look like? Perhaps Mr. Mo had forgotten the actions of a certain young girl this morning. They were even more intimate than Zheng Xianjing's. Zheng Xianjing felt wronged, and her eyes began to tear up. She had always been treated like a princess. When was she ever scolded so bluntly? Moreover, the person who scolded her was the one she liked. One can only imagine how Zheng Xianjing felt at that moment. Could it be, in Mo Qixin's eyes, she was shameless? No, she couldn't let these few words make her give up on Mo Qixin. Feelings between men and women need time to develop. Tang Monk's journey to fetch the scriptures had to go through 81 trials. What was this little setback compared to that? Uncle Mo. Zheng Xianjing quickened her pace to catch up. Uncle Mo, I love you. I don't care that you have nothing right now, and I don't care about your middle school education. I love you for who you are. No matter what happens in the future, I will always love you. She was different from Zhao Jingrong. Zhao Jingrong despised Mo Qixin for being an unsuccessful loser, but she accepted him. She believed she could move Mo Qixin with her sincerity and love. After all, girls who don't care about money were rare these days. At that, Mo Qixin turned to look at Zheng Xianjing, slowly spoke. But I despise you. Here, he looked Zheng Xianjing up and down, enunciating each word, for being too ugly. Too ugly? He actually said she was ugly. All her life, Zheng Xianjing's greatest pride was her face. She had a classic oval face, almond eyes, cherry lips. Wherever she went, everyone complimented her beauty. And her place as the school beauty had never been contested. The queue of boys chasing her could stretch down a street. After he finished speaking, Mo Qixin hopped on his bike and left without looking back. He moved quickly, and it wasn't long before his figure was out of sight. Zheng Xianjing stood behind, her eyes crimson with fury. She couldn't hold back her tears and started crying out loud. All of this was that bitch Ai Yang's fault. Chapter 259. Mysterious Boss Tricks Zheng Xianjing, Rescuing Boss Ni_3. If it weren't for Ai Yang's interference, Mo Qixin would surely not have found her unattractive. She will not let off Ai Yang, the little bitch, who dares to compete for a man. As the Mo family's villa appeared close by, the riding speed of Mo Qixin slowly decreased. A black luxury car gradually stopped beside him. Marcus and Morris stepped out of it. Mo Qixin took out a cigarette from his pocket, lit it up and said with a murmuring smile, "Investigate Zheng Xianjing's whereabouts in the recent days." Marcus and Morris nodded respectfully. Mo Qixin flicked the ash of his cigarette and continued, "Don't hover around here in the next few days. Okay, go back now. If there is a problem, just contact me by phone." "Yes, Mr. Mogg." Mo Qixin barely lifted his eyes. Marcus and Morris trembled with fright and promptly corrected themselves. "Yes, sir." Without saying much, Mo Qixin turned and walked toward the main entrance of the villa. The next day, Zheng Xianjing went shopping at the department store with her girlfriends. From a distance, she saw Mo Qixin standing there with Mr. Mogg's assistants, Morris and Marcus. Zheng Xianjing was thrilled. She knew she was not mistaken that day. Mo Qixin and Mr. Mogg were the same person. To avoid her girlfriends discovering the secret, Zheng Xianjing, under some pretext, sent them off. She, on the other hand, walked quietly toward Mo Qixin. As she got closer, she could hear their conversation clearly. "Mr. Morris, Mr. Marcus, please let me meet Mr. Mogg." Marcus scoffed. "Who do you think you are? Can you meet our Mr. Mogg whenever you want?" Morris said, "Mr. Mo, I'm sorry, Mr. Mogg does not meet any visitors. There is nothing we can do if he doesn't want to see you." Mo Qixin continued, "Mr. Mogg sent a birthday gift to my mother last time. Did you tell him who I am?" Hearing this, Zheng Xianjing was completely stunned. Her eyes widened. She thought she would hear some business secrets. Unexpectedly, this was what she heard. So, Mo Qixin was really not Mr. Mogg. This was just her wishful thinking. How could this be? Last time, she clearly saw Marcus and Morris treating Mo Qixin with reverence. Did she misinterpret? Zheng Xianjing tried hard to recall that scene. Thinking back now, she seemed to overthink because she did not clearly see Mr. Mog. She just saw an ambiguous side face. She just thought the side face looked like Mo Qixin. In fact, it was not Mo Qixin at all, it just looked like him. How could a good-for-nothing like Mo Qixin be the famous Mr. Mog? She must have been blind before. No wonder Zhao Jingrong is so determined to divorce Mo Qixin. Zheng Xianjing bit her lip tightly, wishing she could kill her foolish self from the past with a slap. So foolish. She was really foolish. If Mo Qixin is not Mr. Mog, then who is he? As Mr. Mog took the initiative to send a birthday gift to Madame Mo, he must have some connection with the Mo family. Recalling the fuzzy side face, Zheng Xianjing thought of Mo Baichuan's face. In fact, that person looked a little like Mo Baichuan. She was too confused at that time, and thought of Mo Qixin first. Thinking about it now, Mo Baichuan seemed more likely to be Mr. Mog. Could it be Mo Baichuan? Zheng Xianjing squinted her eyes. Over by the column, Mo Qixin was still shamelessly pestering Manis and Morris. Marcus pushed Mo Qixin out. Go away, our Mr. Mog will not see you. Mo Qixin angrily said, Don't despise me because I am poor. Times change. Just wait. With that he strode away. Waste. Mo Qixin is a waste. If it were Mo Baichuan, Marcus would definitely not dare to push him. When Zheng Xianjing looked at Mo Qixin again, she was full of contempt and she left the place with a furious expression. Looking at Mo Qixin's retreating figure, Marcus trembled with fear. Oh God. He actually pushed the boss. Morris thumped Marcus' shoulder, adding fuel to the fire. You not only pushed Mr. Mog, but you also called him a nobody. Marcus nervously swallowed. I was just assisting Mr. Mog. There should be no problem, right? Mr. Mog shouldn't be so petty, right? Chapter 260, Mysterious Boss Tricks Zheng Xianjing, Rescuing Boss and I _4. If Mr. Mog was to hold grudges, then he's a goner. Why was he subjected to such a vile role? Life is already so challenging, why does he have to face such torments? Morris shrugged his shoulders. Whether Mr. Mog will blame you or not depends on the performance. If the audience believes it or not. Marcus looked around and asked, Where is the audience? Morris gave a mysterious smile. Marcus continued, Why would Mr. Mog have us perform this play out of the blue? Morris replied, If I could guess what on Mr. Mog's mind, wouldn't I essentially become Mr. Mog? Marcus scratched his head, looking puzzled. When Zheng Xianjing once again came to her little sisters, her face was as white as paper. One of the sisters worriedly asked, Xianjing, are you okay? Zheng Xianjing managed a faint smile. I'm fine, just feeling a bit sick. Maybe we should head back? Go back? Aren't we going to the noodle restaurant? Zheng Xianjing originally planned to bring her sisters to give Anai Yang a piece of her mind at her noodle restaurant today. After this incident, how could Zheng Xianjing still be in the mood to pick a fight with Anai Yang? She needs to find out who the real Mr. Mog is as soon as possible. She wants to become a truly superior person. Zheng Xianjing continued, Let's not. She's just a commoner, not worth my time. Oh, we'll just go back then. The sisters ushered Zheng Xianjing towards the exit. Just by coincidence, as they reached the entrance of the mall, they saw Mo Qixin walking out. Usually, Zheng Xianjing would follow Mo Qixin regardless of anything. But not today. Such a loser, he's not worthy of her. Bemoaning her past blindness. Thinking about how Mo Qixin had ruthlessly humiliated her last night, Zheng Xianjing felt anger rise within. What right does this loser have to insult her? Thinking thus, Zheng Xianjing lifted her chin high, walking past Mo Qixin with a haughty demeanor. From now on, she would make him realize that they are from two different worlds. The future her is someone beyond his reach. Regardless of Zheng Xianjing's actions, Mo Qixin didn't spare her a second glance. He calmly headed in the opposite direction. If you look closely, you could see a hint of mockery hidden deep within his eyes. Once Mo Qixin left, the sisters near Zheng Xianjing started discussing in low voices. That man just now, he's handsome. Even more so than the pretty boys on television. Yeah, absolutely. If only my boyfriend was that attractive. I'm not asking for much, half of his looks would do. Zheng Xianjing responded coldly to their chatter. Attractive? Can you eat attractiveness? Looks certainly can't feed you, which is why they are trying to ingratiate themselves with Zheng Xianjing, hoping she can introduce them to a higher quality social circle. Men die for wealth, birds die for food. Who doesn't want to be a part of the elite circle? As days passed, with the end of the year drawing near, Ni Yang began preparing for the New Year purchases. At noon that day, Ni Yang rode her bicycle to the station to pick up Ni Zuihua, to go shopping for the New Year together. This was Ni Kuihua's first visit since the renovation of the milk tea shop and noodle restaurant. Standing in front of the two shops, Ni Kuihua's face was filled with disbelief. Everything felt so unreal, like a dream. Yang, Ni Zuihua held Ni Yang's hand tightly, her eyes filled with tears. Is this really our shop? Yes. Ni Yang nodded. Ni Zuihua just stared at the two connected shops, silent for a long time. She was genuinely happy. It was not easy for Ni Yang to have achieved what she has. Mum, let's go inside, it's cold outside, said Ni Yang. Holding little Ni Yun in one hand and leading Ni Zuihua with the other. Mum, let's be careful, Aunt Jean Feng and the others are inside resting. Okay. Ni Zuihua nodded. Once inside the shop, Ni Yang made Ni Zuihua a cup of milk tea. After showing Ni Zuihua around the shop, the two women, along with little Ni Yun, left to make their New Year purchases. As they walked out, the owner of the neighboring shop asked with a smile, Yang, is this your mom? Ni Yang nodded. Yes, Auntie Feng, this is my mum, and this is my sister. Ni Zuihua, no longer as humble as when she first arrived in the city, greeted naturally, hello. Chapter 261. Mysterious Boss Tricks Zheng Xianjing, Rescuing Boss Ni_5. Feng Yu also laughed and greeted Ni Zuihua. Big sister, you've really raised a good daughter. I've never seen a girl as capable as Yang. She's only 17 but already the boss of two shops. If it wasn't witnessed firsthand, who would believe it? After Ni Yang walked away with Ni Zuihua, the nearby business owners all came out to gossip with Feng Yu. Was that woman just now Yang mother? Yes. Feng Yu nodded. No wonder Yang is so good-looking, her mother isn't bad either. Yang is 17 today, her mother must be at least 34, right? She looks like she's in her 20s. Exactly, why are they both so pretty? Look at my skin compared to theirs, I'm like an old cucumber skin. Another chimed in. If your skin isn't good, I recommend you to use a skincare product. A relative of ours is using it. She's been using it for half a month, and her skin is as smooth as if she changed a layer. Really? What's the brand? It seems to be called Ice Crystal Jade Skin. You mean Ice Crystal Jade Skin? I know that brand too. I'm using their facial cleanser and aloe vera gel now, but the whitening moisturizer seems a bit hard to get. I've tried to buy it 3 times and haven't got it. I know that brand too. One bought a bottle of the whitening moisturizer. The effect is indeed very good, just that the price is a bit expensive, equivalent to a month's rent. As long as it works, it doesn't matter if it's expensive. We women have only one face in our life. The problem is the stock is too tight, I can't buy it at all. The women chatted about Ni Yang to skincare products and then to their own lovers, children. Ni Yang took Ni Zuihua to the market. Because the new year was coming, all the streets were filled with vendors selling couplets, firecrackers and various foods. It was extremely lively. It was different from the future, where due to environmental pollution, all kinds of fireworks are strictly prohibited. In this era, fireworks and firecrackers could be set off at will. But because they weren't cheap, not many people bought them. People at most bought a string of firecrackers to set off, just to make things a little festive. As for those who bought sparklers and fireworks were from wealthy families. Ni Yang picked 2 strings of firecrackers, and then a big bunch of sparklers and a big firework. Boss, how much are these? The stall owner, while calling to other customers, said, Young girl, these add up to 15 yuan. 15 yuan could be equivalent to half a month's wage for a worker. Enai Tsuehua, who was accustomed to a frugal life, couldn't help but counsel, Yang, we actually don't need that much. Enai Yang smiled and said, the new year comes only once a year, let's make it festive. After saying that, she took out 15 yuan and gave it to the boss. Ordinary people who buy such expensive items would at least haggle over the price, but the stall owner didn't expect Enai Yang to be so generous. She didn't bargain and directly bought it. This made the stall owner take a second look at Enai Yang. With this second look, oh my! This young girl is also too good-looking. The stall owner was secretly surprised. After buying the firecrackers and fireworks, Enai Yang took Enai Tsuehua to the food section. Since it was the new year, nuts and sunflower seeds were a must. But in this era, you couldn't find premium nuts like Hawaiian nuts, pistachios, almonds at ordinary markets. What you saw were peanuts, fried rice candy, fried dough twists, sunflower seeds, fried broad beans, and other common snacks. Then there were all kinds of candies. Xiaolong candy, lard candy, and all kinds of fruit candies. Because there were many children in the village, Enai Yang bought more candies and cookies. She also bought a few pounds of sunflower seeds, peanuts, broad beans, and other roasted snacks. After buying these things, Enai Yang shared her plan to buy some jewelry for Enai Chingui with Enai Tsuehua. Enai Tsuehua nodded in approval. That's fine, your Aunt Enai is a good person, we should buy her something nice. With that said, the mother and daughter, carrying bags of goods, arrived at the jewelry shop. The salespeople in the jewelry shop were all sharp-eyed. They saw that Enai Tsuehua and her daughter were well-dressed and pretty. Immediately, they enthusiastically greeted and helped them carry their bags, sweet-talking Enai Tsuehua into a happy mood. Enai Yang chose a necklace, a pair of earrings, and a gold ring for Enai Chingui. These were the 3 pieces of gold that people in this era could only dream of. Chapter 262, Mysterious Boss Tricks Xianxia, Rescuing Boss Enai_6. After some thought, Enai Yang picked out a similar one for Enai Tsuehua. Enai Tsuehua had led a tough life in her earlier years. Enai Yang wanted her later years to be a little sweeter. Enai Tsuehua immediately said, don't waste your money, child, I don't need this. I really don't need it. Enai Yang laughed and replied, Mom, it's not that much money. Don't worry. Besides, gold can appreciate in value. The salesperson quickly gathered up the jewelry. Aunt, this is your daughter's show of filial piety. Please take them. It's hard to find such a good daughter these days, even with a lantern. A wide smile spread across Enai Tsuehua's face. Indeed, it would be difficult to find a good daughter like Enai Yang, even with a lantern. She must have saved up good karma in her past life to have such a wonderful daughter in this life. The total cost of the jewelry came to 3,000 yuan. While it was nothing to Enai Yang, but for Enai Tsuehua, it was a fortune. After all, she had never even seen 30 yuan in the past. Once they finished their shopping, the mother and daughter, carrying their purchases, headed in the direction of the noodle restaurant. Although it was already afternoon, the streets were still crowded with people, old and young, all crammed together. They rarely set foot outside even once a year, only taking the chance to explore during the holidays. Curiosity was irresistible. A small girl stood in the middle of the road, staring blankly at a candied hawthorn vendor, oblivious to the honking horn. A car was about to run into the little girl. A figure darted over, scooping her up and rolling out of the way at lightning speed. Screech! The sound of emergency brakes being activated echoed, missing the little girl by a whisker. If that person had moved even slightly slower, the consequences would be unimaginable. Wah! The little girl immediately burst into tears out of fright. Enai Yang stood up holding the little girl, dusting off her clothes and gently comforting her. It's okay now, it's okay. Catching sight of Enai Yang from the back seat of the car, a clear view of her profile can be seen. It's the same girl again. A hint of a smile surfaced in the man sitting in the back seat. He stopped the driver from getting out of the car. I'll go myself. Chairman. The driver was taken aback. The man was already getting out of the car. I'm sorry, are you two all right? The man walked over to Enai Yang. I'm fine, Enai Yang shook her head. The little girl might be a bit frightened, though. The man continued, Young lady, we really should thank you. If it weren't for you, we might be facing a lawsuit. My name is Shangguan Su. Here is my business card. If he hadn't witnessed it himself, he wouldn't have believed that a young girl could have shown such courage in the face of danger. In such situations, many people wouldn't risk themselves to save a child, even if they are sure they could. Everyone values their own life. Ai Yang took the card, her tone was light. Please drive more carefully in the future. It's already the end of the year, and nobody wants accidents. Turning her attention to the still sobbing little girl, she spoke softly, Little girl, you can't stand in the middle of the road lost in thought, okay? It was very dangerous today. Remember, you only have one life. At her words, Shangguan Su was slightly taken aback. He had expected Ai Yang to solely blame him and push all the responsibility onto him, since he was the one who started this. Surprisingly, Ai Yang was teaching the little girl some lessons. It seemed she was not as he had imagined. Moreover, she didn't react particularly when she saw the business card. She was so calm, not like a young girl, but more like someone who had seen the world. The little girl was terrified, covering her eyes and sobbing softly. Ai Yang continued, Stop crying now. How about I buy you a candied hawthorn stick? Would you like that? Upon hearing the words, candied hawthorn, the little girl instantly stopped crying, removing her hands from her eyes. Really? Ai Yang nodded. Of course it's true. But you have to promise me not to daydream in the middle of the road. Okay, big sister, I promise you. The little girl blinked her eyes and then said, Wow. Big sister, you are so pretty. Ai Yang smiled gently, leading the little girl over to buy 2 sticks of candied hawthorn. With a candied hawthorn stick in hand, the little girl had a satisfied smile on her face. Shangguan Su followed over. Ai Yang raised an eyebrow slightly. Is there something else, Mr. Shangguan? Chapter 263, Mysterious Boss Tricks Xianxia, Rescuing Boss and I _ 7 Continuing, Shangguan Su said, You did a favor for me, little girl, for which I haven't properly thanked you. There's a restaurant up ahead, how about we talk over a meal? No need, Ai Yang declined gracefully. It was a mere trifle, Mr. Shangguan, don't give it another thought. Ai Yang didn't save people for rewards or for someone's gratitude. She just couldn't stand by and watch a vibrant life disappear before her eyes. In her second life, she not only cherished her own life, but the lives of others as well. But, as Shangguan Su tried to say something more, Ai Yang cut him off. If you truly feel bad about it, Mr. Shangguan, why don't you take this little friend home? It's quite unsafe for her to be here alone with cars coming and going. Beautiful sister, I have a name, I'm called Xiaoxue, said the little girl, looking up at Ai Yang. Xiaoxue, would you like Big Brother to take you home? Shangguan Su stretched his hand out to Xiaoxue. Xiaoxue slowly walked over, cautiously saying, There are many human traffickers nowadays. Big Brother, you're not a bad person, right? Ai Yang replied, Rest assured, Xiaoxue, this Big Brother is not a bad person. With her extensive experience, Ai Yang could easily discern good from bad. If not, she wouldn't have so readily handed Xiaoxue over to him. As for Shangguan Su, he gave Ai Yang a thoughtful look. Xiaoxue nodded. Since beautiful sister said so, then I will go home with you. Shangguan Su let out a soft laugh. As they were leaving, Xiaoxue politely said goodbye to Ai Yang. After walking a few steps, Shangguan Su turned back to look at Ai Yang. Little miss, may I ask your name? Ai Yang, she replied with a light tone. Ai of the character pound, the Yang of I_FIFIBG_W, Ai Yang. As expected, both the woman and her name were beautiful. It definitely surpassed the common names like Chunhua and Chuyue. Shangguan Su nodded before leading Xiaoxue towards his car. Ai Yang approached Ai Zuihua, asking, Mom, have you finished your shopping? Ai Zuihua was currently buying cured goods and hadn't noticed the previous events. I bought some cured chicken and fish. Do you see anything else we should get? Ai Yang looked at the cured goods stand. Why don't we get more smoked meat? Ai Zuihua nodded. All right, vendor, please cut us 5 pounds of smoked meat. By the time they finished purchasing the cured goods and returned to the noodle restaurant, it was already past 4 in the afternoon. The restaurant had already started doing business, and it was packed inside, with a long line outside to boot. While little Ni Yun was sleeping, Ni Zihua also helped to cook the noodles and prepare the milk tea. Ni Yang, on the other hand, was busy out front. Even though Ni Zihua had always known that the noodle restaurant and milk tea shop were doing well, she hadn't realized it was to this extent. She had been there for almost an hour, and the line of people hadn't decreased at all. Despite being busy and tired, she felt happiness in her heart. At 7:30 in the evening, Ni Yang closed up shop promptly. Today was payday. Ni Yang had the envelopes ready and handed them out to everyone. Aunt Zhou, Aunt Jinfang, Aunt Suiping, Aunt Xiaoqin, this is your monthly salary. Wang Jinfang looked at the money in the envelope. Wait, Ni Yang, why is there an extra 60 yuan? The monthly salary was 60 yuan, but Ni Yang had given 120. Hearing this, the others also checked their envelopes and found an extra 60 yuan. Ni Yang explained with a smile. The new year is coming soon, this is your red envelope. Ni Yang was a good boss, she never mistreated her employees. Hearing this, the 4 of them all declined. The wages Ni Yang paid were already high, how could they accept her red envelope? Ni Yang continued, Aunties, please accept it. It's a tradition to give red envelopes for good luck during the new year. If you don't accept it, it means you're looking down on the amount. No. We're not looking down on the amount, Ni Yang interjected. If that's the case, just accept it. They'll need you to put more effort into managing these 2 shops in the future. After the new year, Ni Yang planned to further expand her business, so she wouldn't have as much time to devote to these 2 shops. Zhou Qingshang said with a smile, Ni Yang, what are you talking about? It's perfectly natural for us to work since you're paying us. Han Xiaoqin and Wang Zuiping added, Yes, that's right. We're supposed to do this, Ni Yang, you don't need to be so formal with us. Ni Yang continued, Anyway, thank you for your hard work, aunties. Also, with the new year approaching, I've decided that we'll work till the 29th of the last lunar month and resume work on the 8th of the lunar new year. During these 7 days of rest, wages will still be paid normally. She wasn't a stingy boss. She was aware that her employees needed properly arranged resting periods. Moreover, the new year held great significance for Chinese people. If they had to work even during the new year, she would be an awful boss. She wasn't chasing after endless money and didn't care about a few days. Hearing this, the 4 of them were stunned. They didn't expect Ni Yang not only to give them red packets but also to give them a new year break. Ni Yang, Wang Jinfang said, Actually, you don't have to give us so many days off. Your business is so good, it would be a pity to close for so many days. The other 3 nodded. With the high salary Ni Yang gave, even if they didn't get a single day off, none of them would have any complaints. The 2 shops could earn 2,000 to 3,000 yuan a day. After 7 or 8 days of rest, that could amount to tens of thousands of yuan. Ni Yang explained with a smile, That's all right. Actually, during the New Year period, most people will be busy with their own affairs, and there won't be many who will be dining out. Besides, you've been working hard for so long, it's time you took a break. Also, after the New Year, I plan to hire a few more people from our village to help out and implement a rotation system for rest days, where everyone can have a day off every week. Chapter 264, Principle-Based Boss Ni. Targeting Li Xianxian's Zhengxian Jinji 1 should be content and not be greedy. Hearing this, all 4 of them refused. We don't need a break, Yang, we're not tired at all. Indeed, this job is much more relaxed than working in the fields. I've gained quite a bit of weight since I started working here. Me too, I've put on weight. Working at the noodle restaurant only requires washing dishes and cooking noodles, without need to endure scorching sun or drenching rain. They had not only gained weight but also their skin had become much fairer. Previously, when working at home all year round, doing dirty and tiring farming work, they barely made any money. In a single month working at Ni Yang's, they earned as much as they did in a whole year at home. The 4 of them were genuinely grateful to Ni Yang. Ni Yang said with a smile, How can you not rest? Work and relaxation should go hand in hand. Let's follow this plan next year. Yang, we really don't need to rest. Yes, we really don't need to rest. Still, the four of them insisted on refusing. And Yang continued, ladies, there's no need for you to refuse. You're not made of iron. How can you not rest? Plus, you all have elderlies and little ones at home. Use the break time to take care of your family. Hearing this, the four of them didn't know what to say. Yang not only offered them the best treatment, gave them red envelopes and year-end holiday during Chinese New Year, but now she was also giving them 4 days off a month. They must work hard and not let Yang down. After taking care of this matter, Yang started to lock the door and leave. There were quite a lot of New Year goods purchased today, and the back seat couldn't fit anyone, so Tsuehua took the tram home with her child. At around 7 o'clock in the evening, the night temperature was very low, all the passengers on the tram were bundled up tightly, and a thick layer of ice had formed on the steps of the tram. Tsuehua, holding her child, didn't notice it, and her foot stepped on the ice surface, causing her and her child to lurch forward due to the sudden force. As she was about to fall to the ground, someone caught her just in the nick of time. Comrade, are you okay? A thick, kind voice sounded above Kuihua's head. Tsuehua was so scared that her heart raced. Looking up, she saw a man about 30 to 40 years old, with a square face, tall and thin figure, a typical intellectual, wearing a pair of black-rimmed glasses, and emanating an elegant demeanor. They were standing a bit too close, and Tsuehua didn't want to cause any misunderstanding. She hurriedly took a step back while holding her child, repeatedly bowing in gratitude. I'm fine, thank you. Thank you. If it hadn't been for this middle-aged man acting swiftly, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Tsuehua felt a chill run down her spine. The middle-aged man casually adjusted his glasses. It was the least I could do, you don't need to be so polite. Is the child okay? Little Yun seemed to understand the middle-aged man's words. He didn't look scared at all and even looked up and smiled at him, babbling as if he wanted to talk. The 6-month-old baby was plump and fair, with clear and bright eyes, a clean face without a trace of dribble or snot, looking as lovely as the babies in New Year paintings. In this era, families usually had 5 or 6 or even more children, and there was no time for parents to take care of them since they were busy working. Therefore, elder children were usually the ones taking care of the younger ones. It was rare to see anyone take such good care of their child. The middle-aged man couldn't help but take another look at little Yun, then finally looked closely at Tsuehua. No wonder she could raise such a lovely child. She was no ordinary person. Talking with a strange man for the first time, Tsuehua was a bit apprehensive. My child is fine too, thanks to you just now. The middle-aged man continued, the roads are slippery in the snow. You should be careful when carrying a child. You're right. Tsuehua nodded nervously. Without saying much else, the middle-aged man returned to his seat and continued reading the newspaper. Tsuehua also found an empty seat and sat down. The tram slowly started moving. Along the way, people kept getting on and off the tram. When Tsuehua looked up again, the middle-aged man who had helped her was no longer on the tram. Such a kind man he was. Tsuehua thought. Outside the tram, a black bicycle slowly passed by. Chapter 265. Principle-Based Boss targeting Li Xianxian's Xianjing_2. If Tsuehua were to look down, she would definitely see that the middle-aged man who just left is now sitting in the back seat of the car, conversing with a young man. And if Yen were there, she would definitely notice that the young man is Shangguansu. The car was much faster than a bicycle, so Tsuehua arrived home before Yen. It wasn't until Tsuehua had put the kids to bed that Yen arrived home by bike. Tsuehua quickly helped Yen unload the goods and wash the vegetables. That evening, Yen planned to cook some preserved pork with steamed rice, accompanied by a few beauty-enhancing dishes. At dinner time, Yen gave Chengge the 30 boxes of whitening moisturizer she had just finished making. Auntie, this is the whitening moisturizer ordered by the mysterious customer last time. Could you please deliver them to her? Okay, Ni Chingue replied, cheerfully accepting them. Ni Yen then picked up a small round box and handed it to Ni Chingue. Oh, Auntie Ni, I've recently developed a new anti-wrinkle cream. You can take it and see how it works. Anti-wrinkle? Ni Chingue's eyes lit up. Can it remove wrinkles? Aging and wrinkles are a woman's worst enemies. Hearing about an anti-wrinkle cream, how could Ni Chingue not be excited? Ni Yen nodded, yes. Ni Chingue laughed. Yang, you are amazing. She was truly lucky to have met Ni Yen on the train. Ni Yen smiled faintly. Annie and I, don't rush to praise me yet, we still don't know if it's effective. This anti-wrinkle cream was also something Ni Yen had just developed. The products she newly develops are not immediately sold but are first given to the people around her, to Lin Pingping, to Wang Meifeng. Now that the brand Skin as Ice and Jade is well established, they don't know how many people envy Ni Chingue, Wang Meifeng, and Lin Pingping for getting to use the products that others can't buy. This is also a way of winning hearts. After all, Ni Yen is a businesswoman. She never makes unprofitable investments. Ni Chingue said, Yang, can anything you research ever be bad? Auntie guarantees, this anti-wrinkle cream will certainly be good. It will be another bestseller. Ni Yen laughed. Then I hope your good words come true. The next day, Ni Chingue brought the 30 boxes of whitening moisturizer to the company, handed them to her colleagues and blurted out, Xiaolan, who the heck is this person who ordered 30 boxes of whitening moisturizer from you? They are really wealthy, aren't they? Although it had been many days since the incident, Ni Chingue still couldn't help her surprise. One should know that's 24,000 yuan. Jialan said, I'm not exactly sure who she is either, all I know is that she's my daughter's classmate. One heard her family is very wealthy, she has a boyfriend who is a high-ranking leader, she lives in a mansion, and 20,000 yuan to her is like 2 yuan to us. In the eyes of ordinary people, 20,000 yuan is a huge amount of money, but to the rich 20,000 yuan is simply insignificant. Oh, one Ni Chingue nodded, sighing, it is good to be rich. Jialan continued, by the way, has Skin as Ice and Jade come out with any new products recently? Loving beauty is every woman's nature. Skin as Ice and Jade has great effects, so everyone is looking forward to new products every day. Now, new products hardly need any promotion. As soon as they're released, they're immediately sold out. Ni Chingue gave a mysterious smile. You guess. Seeing her like this, Jialan could already guess, lowered her voice and said, what product is it? Let me know, one promise I won't tell anyone else. Ni Chingue whispered, this time it's an anti-wrinkle cream, it should be available for purchase in a few days. But I estimate the price is likely to be around the same as the whitening moisturizer. Upon hearing it was an anti-wrinkle cream, Jialan's eyes immediately lit up. She quickly responded, I don't mind the price as long as it works. Look at these crow's feet of mine, they are unbearable to look at. We have such a good relationship, you must save a box for me. It seemed like Ni Chingue suddenly remembered something and asked, by the way Xiaolan, your husband teaches at our city's high school, right? Yes, Jialan nodded. Ni Chingue laughed, what grade does he teach? Although Jialan was somewhat puzzled, she still answered, this year he's teaching 10th grade, next year he'll be teaching 11th grade. 11th grade, excellent. Chapter 266, Principle-Based Boss Ni. Targeting Li Xianxian's Xianjing 3 Ni Chingue often heard Ni Yang saying that she was going to take the college entrance examination. The college entrance examination was reintroduced in 1977. For an outsider to join and take the local entrance exam was not an easy matter. If she could smooth the path through Jialan, it would solve one of Ni Yang's troubles. Ni Chingue was not someone oblivious of things. Given that Ni Yang had helped her so much in every way, she naturally had to figure out how to help Ni Yang. She couldn't always be on the receiving end of Ni Yang's help. Ni Chingue then said, Xiaolan, could you go back and ask your husband if his class is still accepting transferee students? Those who directly participate in the college entrance examination. I have a relative who came from another city who wants to participate in next year's exam. Jialan nodded. Cheng Gue, Isn't this a matter of a word? And about that anti-wrinkle cream, could you help me keep an eye on that? Having someone in the family as a teacher, this favor was not at all troubling for Jialan. And Chengray smiled and nodded. All right then, I will surely reserve a box of the anti-wrinkle cream for you. Great, great. When Xianxia received the 30 boxes of whitening moisturizer from her classmate, she didn't know how to describe how she felt. For these 30 boxes of moisturizer, she sold all valuable jewelry, sold her blood, and even borrowed thousands from her classmates. Now asking her to give these away, she was somewhat reluctant. Despite her reluctance, Xianxia still agreed with these young ladies and delivered the whitening moisturizers. Wow! Xianxia, you are amazing. You managed to order so much whitening moisturizer. Xianxia, thank you so much. Thank you. Xianxia was surrounded by everyone. Her face was filled with a dignified smile. There's no need to thank me. I've had a bit of dealings with the boss of Ice Skin Jade Skin. This isn't a big deal. Where people are, there will be gossip. And these daughters of wealthy families were no exceptions. Xianxia, how did you know the boss of Ice Skin Jade Skin? Xianxia said, it was just a casual encounter. Is the boss of Ice Skin Jade Skin a man or a woman? Xianxia smiled, I'm keeping that a secret. Seeing her like this, they had already figured out the answer. Oh, I see. The boss of Ice Skin Jade Skin must be a man, right? Does he like you? I think he surely likes Xianxia, otherwise he would not have gone as far as giving 30 boxes of whitening moisturizer. It's infuriating to compare people. We can't even buy one box, and Xianxia casually gets 30. Yes, yes, yes. Everyone echoed, he surely likes Xianxia. Xianxia, covering her face, embarrassingly said, don't rant about it. I already have someone I like. Her words were an affirmation in a way. The crowd looked on with envy. Was Xianxia's romantic fortune not too good? First there was Mo Baichuan, the eldest grandson of the Mo family, and then the boss of Ice Skin Jade Skin. The men she met were all outstanding. Why didn't they have such luck? Xianxia, what's the name of the boss of Ice Skin Jade Skin? Is he handsome? Is he as handsome as the cream of the crop on TV? Facing everyone's gossiping, Xianxia softly said, he is a very low-key person. I should not be saying too much. Her words were extremely artful, and everyone had already worked out from this that the boss of Ice Skin Jade Skin must be a very handsome person. They were all even more envious of Xianxia. Xianxia was thoroughly enjoying the envy of everyone, and was extremely satisfied in her heart. Looking back on how she was a poor village girl who had nothing 3 years ago, and now she's chatting and discussing with these lavishly dressed daughters, talking and being in the limelight. What about being a daughter of a rich family? Even the daughters of rich families were envious of her, the village girl. Xianxia could hardly wait to announce her success to the whole world. Let those people who used to look down on her see, she now is also a part of high society. Now, they were already too low for her. Is the boss of Ice Skin Jade Skin as handsome as Mo Baichuan? Someone asked. Xianxia blushed a little and said, in my heart, no one can compare with Baichuan. Hearing this, everyone laughed and teased Xianxia. Mo Baichuan? Upon hearing this name, Zheng Xianjing, who was sitting there drinking coffee, glanced over here. Chapter 267, Principle-Based Boss and I, targeting Xianxia's Zheng Xianjing _4. Although Zheng Xianjing did enjoy using skin brightening and moisturizing cream, her grudges with Xianxia prevented her from joining the fun. As far as she knew, Xianxia was a very ambitious woman. Now that Mr. Mog, a significant figure, was here in Beijing, it was unlikely that Xianxia would take any interest in Mo Baichuan. Mo Baichuan was Mr. Mog himself. Moreover, the profile she had caught a glimpse of previously did resemble Mo Baichuan quite closely. And Mr. Mog had connections with the Mo family. Mo Baichuan himself was incredibly talented. He had even studied abroad for 4 years, and Mr. Mog had also recently returned from overseas. The more Zheng Xianjing thought about it, the more she became convinced that Mo Baichuan was Mr. Mog. The sense of crisis in her heart deepened. If things continued as they were and Mo Baichuan and Li Xianxian grew closer, she would no longer stand a chance. She needed to figure out a way to get Mo Baichuan to notice her. She stirred her coffee, a spark flickering briefly in her eyes. Just who did Li Xianxian think she was? Nothing more than an orphan no one wanted. Did she really think she could compete with her over Mo Baichuan? The business at the noodle restaurant and milk tea shop was now steadily increasing, so Yang didn't need to spend so much time worrying, and instead, she decided to focus all her energy on developing skincare products. Although ordinary facial cleansers, aloe vera gel, etc. were bringing her about 200 to 3,000 yuan in income each month, and the skin brightening and moisturizing cream had a fixed income of 3,000 yuan, she hadn't yet reached her ideal goal. She wanted to expand her skincare business, transition to brick-and-mortar stores, open branches, and eventually operate on a national and then global chain level. Yang mulled over the skincare product line even as she busied herself in the milk tea shop. She remembered a high-end department store at Beijing city center. Despite countless trials and tribulations, it remained prosperous even in later years. If she could set up her skincare company's flagship store in that mall, it would elevate its status. Always the woman of action, Yang decided to use her lunch break to visit the department store. The mall was decorated in a European style, and a large poster hung on its exterior. The poster was not overly fancy. At the top, it simply read, "News Bulletin," in traditional Chinese characters. Advertisements were only featured below the news bulletin. Even the font used was simple and straightforward, unlike the artistic typefaces common in later years. Yang looked over the square, then glanced at the surrounding residential community, making a mental note to buy more properties around this area in the future. If her memory served her correctly, by future years, the property prices here would have soared to 7 figures per square meter, and that's starting with a 2. Of course, she planned to buy properties in both Beijing and Shanghai, as well as other first-tier cities. After all, who would complain about having too much money? Withdrawing her gaze, Yang headed inside the mall. After browsing the skincare counters on the first floor, she noticed that the saleswomen were not particularly enthusiastic. They were indifferent to customers, answered reluctantly when questioned, and never proactively recommended products. They didn't even bother to put on a friendly face. It would be truly surprising if they could sell anything with that attitude. Yang frowned discreetly. She had to remember to avoid this pitfall and not follow the trend. After making a few inquiries, Yang finally reached the mall management's office, which was responsible for renting out stalls. The person in charge of the mall was a slightly overweight middle-aged woman named Zhou Hua, who was 40. Simply glancing at Yang, Zhou Hua responded with indifference, "There will be no stalls available for rent before the Chinese New Year." At that time, all the stalls in the mall were managed by Chinese companies, so everyone involved in their management, regardless of their position, were considered leaders. At least 70 to 80 people came to rent a stall each day, and with the ready availability of stalls, there was no fear of them going vacant, which somewhat provoked their arrogance. They also looked down upon individual stallholders. An individual stallholder wishing to sell products here had to appeal to them. But who could blame them? At this time, individual stallholders' profession was deemed the least promising. Yang didn't take offense at Zhou Hua's attitude. After all, she was currently on the begging end of the deal. Will there be stalls available after the Chinese New Year? Ask about the availability after the Chinese New Year once it's actually the Chinese New Year, Zhou Hua responded impatiently. Okay, thank you, Yang replied, unfazed by Zhou Hua's impatience. She set a box on the counter. I understand that your mall only accepts high-quality products. That's why I've brought a set of skincare product samples for you today. Please try them. I believe their quality will not disappoint. They'll come back after the Chinese New Year. Chapter 268, Principle-Based Boss NI, Targeting Li Xianxian's Xianjing_5. Yang is a person who understands the art of living. She knows what to do at what time. When it's time to be humble, she knows better than to act defiantly. Yang's over 20 years of business experience from her previous life didn't go to waste. Zhou Hua had not yet realized what was happening, and Yang had already turned around to leave. Zhou Hua glanced at the light green box. 4 characters were reflected on the box: ice skin and jade complexion. Zhou Hua took the box to her office and casually threw it next to the trash bin. They received countless gifts like this every day. If they were to accept each one, how many vendors would they have to admit into the mall each year? Not everyone is qualified to sell in the mall. Especially the young girl who came today. She is so beautiful, she must be unstable. What good product could she possibly produce? People like this are even less qualified to be in the mall. Zhou Hua's comment about waiting until after the new year was just a veiled form of rejection. Just before closing time, an incredulous scream suddenly echoed in the office. Alt? Who threw away this trash? Min, what's the matter? Zhou Hua walked over. Wu Min pointed to the green box by the trash bin and said, Who threw the ice skin and jade complexion in the trash? Zhou Hua asked in confusion. I did. Is there a problem? Wu Min said incredulously, Zhou Hua, how could you throw such a good product in the trash? Do you know how many people want to buy a set of ice skin and jade complexion but can't? Zhou Hua was taken aback, somewhat unable to understand what Wu Min was talking about. Wu Min quickly picked up the ice skin and jade complexion box from the trash. Zhou Hua, do you still want this ice skin and jade complexion? If you don't want it, I'm taking it. Ice skin and jade complexion? A few young colleagues crowded around when they heard this. Where is the ice skin and jade complexion? Oh my god. It's the ice skin and jade complexion gift box. Wu Min, you're amazing. You actually got the ice skin and jade complexion gift box. Hurry up and see if there's whitening moisturizer and their new wrinkle cream inside. I've wanted to buy it for a long time. I couldn't get it. Zhou Hua. Wu Min looked at Zhou Hua. Do you still want this or not? If you don't want it, I can open it. Everyone is waiting to see. Yes, of course, I want it. Zhou Hua reached out and took the box. I didn't say I don't want it. She initially threw it away because she didn't realize the skincare product was such a hot seller. Now that she knows, of course, she took it back. She can't let such a hot item go to waste. It's funny how human nature works. Even though it's something they don't value, they might not want to let go when everyone else wants it. Wu Min didn't mind, continuing to say, Zhou Hua, how could you throw it in the trash just now? That's such a waste. Zhou Hua laughed. I may have made a mistake earlier. By the way, is this ice skin and jade complexion really as good as you say it is? Zhou Hua still found it slightly unbelievable. Before Wu Min could answer, someone from the side couldn't help saying, Of course. Ice skin and jade complexion is the best skincare product I have ever used. Especially the whitening moisturizer. After using it, it feels like I have new skin. And the cleansing milk is also really good. Zhou Hua, stop teasing us. Open the gift box so we can see. I've never bought the gift box version of ice skin and jade complexion. Someone else said, this gift box, like the whitening moisturizer, is a limited edition. Of course, you can't buy it. I spent a long time trying to buy the whitening moisturizer last month, and this is the first time I've seen the gift box version. Under everyone's eager anticipation, Zhou Hua opened the gift box. There were 7 skincare products in total in the gift box. Zhou Hua had never used ice skin and jade complexion. She wasn't aware of how in demand it was. Her colleagues, on the other hand, were thrilled. Oh my god! There really are whitening moisturizer and wrinkle cream. How exciting! Finally, I get to see what the wrinkle cream looks like. Zhou Hua, I want to buy this whitening moisturizer. Can you sell it to me? How about 150 yuan? Wu Min picked up the box of whitening moisturizer. 150? Zhou Hua was shocked. She only made 45 yuan a month, and Wu Min was willing to pay 150 yuan for a small box of skincare. Wu Min continued, Zhou Hua. Although the whitening moisturizer is hard to buy, but 150 yuan is a high price. Think about it, its regular price is only 108 yuan. Can you sell it to me? Chapter 269, Principle-Based Boss NI, Targeting Li Xianxian's Xianxia _6. Original price 108 yuan? Zhou Hua was stunned again. She had not expected the whitening moisturizing cream to be so expensive. Zhou, since Minmin wants to buy the whitening moisturizing cream, how about you sell me the anti-wrinkle cream? 1 am willing to pay 150 yuan for it. I also want to buy. For a moment, her colleagues had a burning desire to buy the skincare products in Zhou Hua's hands. Zhou Hua also realized the value of the ice skin and jade flesh, and smiled. I'm sorry, this one's for me. If you guys want to buy it, you can go get it yourselves. Zhou, if we could buy it ourselves, why would we pay a premium here? You have no idea how popular the ice skin and jade flesh are. Zhou Hua wore a smile on her face, thinking that she's really struck gold this time. Wu Min then asked, Zhou, how did you manage to buy such a gift box of ice skin and jade flesh? Do you have some connection? The other colleagues also asked one after another, all hoping to have Zhou Hua buy some on their behalf. Zhou Hua simply made up an excuse to dismiss her colleagues. After leaving the rental office, Ni Yang didn't leave immediately, but continued to stroll around the clothing area, aiming to buy 2 sets of New Year clothes for Ni Tsuehua and little Ni Yun. It was very cold in Beijing, so Ni Yang planned to buy 2 down jackets. At this time, down jackets were premium products, with prices as high as 200 or 300 yuan, which ordinary people couldn't afford. Of course, the quality was also extremely good. A down jacket could be worn for more than 10 years without any issue, which far outmatches the branded down jackets of future generations. However, the designs of down jackets at this time were generally the same. Long, straight, shapeless, with a hood attached at the back and a belt tied in the middle. There was also a faint odor of duck down. Ni Yang picked a wine-colored down jacket for Ni Tsuehua with embroidered cuffs. Then she selected a bright red one for little Ni Yun and another bright red one for herself. Actually, Ni Yang preferred more muted colors, but it was the new year, so a more festive color was appropriate. People in this period were a bit conservative. If you wore white or light-colored clothes to someone else's house during the new year, the host might be somewhat displeased. It didn't really matter on ordinary days. After some thought, Ni Yang chose a down jacket of the same style for Ni Chenghe. Having selected all the down jackets, Ni Yang took the one shed chosen for herself to the fitting room to try on. Because she was not used to wearing such bright colors, Ni Yang felt a little apprehensive. As soon as she stepped out of the fitting room, the shop assistant exclaimed, "Miss, this down jacket looks so good on you." Red is a very glamorous color. People with slightly less attractive looks might be overshadowed by the red color. But when this red down jacket was worn by Ni Yang, the red color itself seemed too dull in comparison. Red is not an easy color to pull off. It requires fair skin, distinct facial features, and a good figure, but every inch of Ni Yang was perfect. Even though it was a straight fit down jacket, it looked uniquely appealing and flawless on her, no matter how you looked at it. Even the shop assistant, who prided herself on her superior taste, could not help exclaiming. She secretly thought to herself, "This is definitely a rich daughter." Ni Yang stood in front of the mirror with a slight smile in her eyes. She was pleased with this down jacket. Not far away, a young man was accompanying an elderly man choosing clothes. Suddenly, he glanced over and was surprised to see a familiar figure. His eyes lit up with amazement. "Wherever you go, there you are. Isn't that Ni Yang?" Shengguan Su gave a smile, speaking to the old man beside him. "Grandma, you wait here for a while, I'll be back shortly." "Go ahead." The old man kindly nodded his head. After trying on the down jacket, Ni Yang also took an interest in a light-colored cheongsam. She loved cheongsams to the point where she could not resist them. Although wearing a cheongsam in winter is quite cold, she could wear it with layers inside and add a down jacket on top to keep warm. She didn't need to try on the cheongsam. Ni Yang then said, "Plus that cheongsam, let's go pay for everything." "Okay." The cashier took all the clothes and went to the checkout with Ni Yang. "Miss, the payment for these clothes has been made by someone already." The cashier politely informed her. Someone already paid. Chapter 270, Principle-Based Boss Ni, targeting Li Xianxian's Xianxia _7 Ni Yang asked doubtfully, "Excuse me, who paid for it?" "A Mr. Shengguan." the cashier replied. Shangguan? Anai Yang frowned slightly and finally recalled the name Shangguan Su in her mind. Anai Yang turned to the sales associate beside her. Could you please bring me another one of each of these clothing items? The sales associate was taken aback at first, but then said, Okay, please wait a moment. Soon, the sales associate came over with several identical pieces of clothing. After expressing her gratitude to the sales associate, Anai Yang continued, Could you please calculate how much all of these items cost? The total is 860 yuan. Anai Yang took out money from her pocket and handed it to the cashier, then she left with the clothes she bought. The sales associate hurriedly chased after her, shouting, Miss, you forgot to take the rest of your clothes. Anai Yang turned around and said, Those clothes were paid for by Mr. Shangguan, so naturally they belong to Mr. Shangguan. You should ask him to come pick them up. Anai Yang certainly wouldn't accept the clothes paid for by Shangguan Su out of the blue. If she did accept his clothes, things would get complex. Anai Yang was a decisive person and did not like feeling tangled up. Moreover, she was certain that Shangguan Su was nearby, and he hadn't paid. How could he have known the price of the cheongsam which she decided to buy on impulse? In fact, Anai Yang was right, Shangguan Su was indeed nearby and he hadn't paid. As soon as Anai Yang turned around, he walked out of the fitting room. The young lady is quite cute and has a strong personality. Shangguan Su revealed an undisguised smile. Mr. Shangguan, do you still want these clothes? The cashier further asked. I don't need them. Shangguan Su waved his hand. He didn't have any young women in his house. What was he supposed to do with all these clothes? After work, Zhou Hua brought the skincare products home. Following the instructions, she carefully washed her face, massaged it, and then applied the skincare products layer by layer. The skincare products felt chilly and comfortable on her face, without any stinging sensation, definitely a better experience than her previous skincare products. She just wondered if the results were really as good as claimed. As Zhou Hua was applying the products, she was skeptical whether a girl who looked no older than 17 or 18 could be that amazing. After applying these skincare products, Zhou Hua went to the living room to watch TV. When Anai Yang returned home, she gave the down jackets she bought today to Anai Zihua and Anai Chengge. Anai Chengge was surprised and said, Yang, why did you buy one for me too? I'll go get the money for you. A down jacket is expensive. Anai Yang should not have had to pay for it. Anai Yang laughed and said, Anai, mentioning money makes me feel like we are strangers. Is our friendship only worth the cost of a down jacket? Anai Zihua said, Sister Chengge, you've helped us so much in various ways. It's just a jacket, just accept it. It's okay. Anai Zihua was so touched that she didn't know what to say. She was of such a mature age, and she had never received clothes from the younger generation before. This was the first time. She may have a daughter, but that's not the same. Her daughter got married and moved far away, not even visiting once in several years. It seems as if she doesn't even have a daughter. Anai Yang added, Anai, you should go try the clothes on with my mom to see if they fit you well. While speaking, she pushed Anai Chengge and Anai Zihua into the room. The two women came out of the room not long after. Although they were wearing identical jackets, they conveyed two different styles. Anai Zihua had a soft beauty, much like a woman from Jiangnan in the misty rain. As for Anai Chengge, she exuded an intellectual beauty, and an air of success radiated from her. They look wonderful, Anai Yang laughed. Mom, standing with Anai, it's like you two are a pair of twin flowers. Hearing this, Anai Chengwe's eyes sparkled. Yang's mom, neither you nor one have siblings, how about we become sworn sisters? From then on, we'll be real family. Sworn sisters. If this phrase had been used in the past, Anai Zihua would have had no idea what it meant. But now things were different. Under Anai Yang's guidance, she was now relatively knowledgeable. That sounds good. Anai Zihua nodded affirmatively with a broad smile on her face. Anai Chengge held Anai Qihua's hand. Yang's mom, let's go outside and kowtow to the Bodhisattva. The two went outside and solemnly knelt down, paying their respects. Anai Yang brought 3 cups of white wine. 1 cup to honor the Bodhisattva. 1 cup to honor heaven and earth. That night, Enai Qinggui and Enai Cuihua were very happy. Both slightly tipsy, they held each other's hands and talked a lot. When Zhou Hua woke up the next morning and saw herself in the mirror, she couldn't believe it and pinched her face. It hurt a lot. Seems like this was not a dream. In the mirror, her skin was white and soft, as if it had been reborn. It turned out this skincare product was genuinely miraculous. Zhou Hua looked surprised. She regretted not having asked for the young girl's contact information yesterday. She didn't even know if the girl would come back after the new year. But the girl had said she would return. It should be reliable, right? It seemed she needed to reserve a stall for the girl in advance. Sitting in front of the dressing table, Zhou Hua silently resolved to reserve the best stall for the young girl. Why didn't she ask where the girl lived yesterday? Even if she didn't know where the girl lived, knowing her name would have been good enough. Now she knew nothing. If the girl decided not to come back after the new year because she disliked Zhou Hua's attitude, she wouldn't know where to find her. Chapter 271. A very happy new year. The mysterious tycoon with foolish strength. Zhou Hua felt more and more regretful, finally letting out a deep sigh. If such good skincare products can't be sold in the mall, it would really be a loss to the public. He hoped that the young girl would come as promised after the new year. In the blink of an eye, it was the 29th day of the 12th lunar month. Today was the last day of business for the noodle restaurant and the milk tea shop before New Year's Eve. Everyone knew that from tomorrow, the milk tea shop and the noodle restaurant would start their 7-day New Year holiday. Therefore, even more people than usual came to eat noodles today, and the queue was even longer. With New Year's around the corner, everyone's faces were filled with smiles and the place was filled with joy. Since today was their last day of business, Zhou Qingshang, Wang Jinfang, and the rest of them insisted on not resting at noon and worked extra hours until 9 o'clock in the evening despite what Enai Yang said. Taking advantage of the time when the four of them were closing up, Enai Yang went to the vegetable market. After everyone had been busy all day, she couldn't just allow them to go without showing her appreciation. She bought some chicken, duck, fish, and meat, as well as some vegetables that were out of season, such as lettuce, cucumber, and garlic sprouts. When she passed by the cooked food shop, Enai Yang also bought more than 10 jin of braised pork head meat. The braised pork head meat was 3 yuan per jin. Enai Yang gave the boss 3 large denomination bills and said, "Auntie, could you please help me bag these 10 jin of pork head meat into 5 bags?" The boss took the money with a grin. "All right." Seeing Enai Yang buy 10 jin of braised meat so generously, the boss also gave Enai Yang half a jin of braised pork intestines. "Young lady, take these pork intestines to try at home." The braised meat boss was also good at doing business. Enai Yang accepted the pork intestines with a smile. "Thank you, auntie." The braised meat boss said, "You're welcome. If you enjoy it, remember to come back and support my business regularly." When she returned to the noodle restaurant, the 4 of them had finished their closing duties. Enai Yang distributed the braised pork head meat to them. "Aunties, this is the pork head meat I bought at the cooked food shop. Take it home and enjoy." Upon hearing this, all 4 of them refused. Enai Yang treated them so well, it was their duty to help out. But if they accepted Enai Yang's gift, the nature of their relationship would change. Enai Yang said with a smile, "I've already bought it. If you don't want it, you'll have to throw it away." Only after she threatened to throw it away did the 4 of them reluctantly accept her gift. Such a good thing would be a pity to throw away. 1 bag of pork head meat weighed as much as 2 jin. 2 jin was equal to 6 yuan. They usually couldn't afford to buy pork head meat to eat at home. When Han Xiaoqin arrived home, her family hadn't eaten yet. "Mom, you're back." Gooden jumped up and greeted her. "Why are you home so late today?" Gooden's father came out from inside. Han Xiaoqin explained with a smile, "Today is the last day of business for the noodle restaurant and the milk tea shop before New Year's Eve, so we all decided to work 2 extra hours." Gooden's father nodded his understanding. "Yang has been so good to our family, it's only right to work extra. Come in, wash your hands and well eat." "Mom, what's in your hand?" Gooden asked curiously. Han Xiaoqin replied mysteriously, "Guess?" Gooden took a careful sniff and swallowed his saliva. "Mom, it's not meat, is it?" In these times, Everyone didn't have a lot of money, so the children were particularly fond of meat. Although the new year was just around the corner and there was some meat at home, that meat was saved for the guests. They couldn't eat it now. It had been over a month since Gooden had last eaten meat. Han Xiaoqi nodded. It's braised meat. Upon hearing this, Gooden was so happy that he practically jumped for joy. Big brother, sister. We have meat to eat. We have braised meat to eat. Gooden's father was surprised. Braised meat? Did you buy it? You work so hard, why waste your money on braised meat? The new year is tomorrow, we can wait a bit longer to eat meat. Braised meat was 3 yuan per jin, and Han Xiaoqin's daily wages couldn't even pay for one. Han Xiaoqin shook her head with a smile. Yang Yang bought it, she gave 1 portion to each of us. Yang Yang bought it? Gooden's father said in surprise. She's so generous. Our village is really lucky to have her. Otherwise, this year's new year would have been difficult. This year the harvest was very poor due to droughts and floods. After paying their grain taxes, the food left at home was just enough to keep them from going hungry, let alone having spare money to buy anything else. Chapter 272. Avery Happy New Year, a mysteriously strong and foolish boss _2. Ni Yang first hired the strong workers in their village for jobs and then bought aloe vera from the villagers, helping everyone to earn a little extra. This enabled everyone to have a prosperous new year. Otherwise, this winter would have been another tough year. Ni Yang is considered the lucky charm of Jinghua village, and this statement is not an exaggeration. 2 jin of braised pork head meat satisfied everyone's appetite. Today is New Year's Eve. At around 7 in the early morning, Ni Yang was woken up by the crackling sound of firecrackers. Upon waking up, Ni Yang didn't immediately get out of bed but lazed around for a while until a little past 8 when she finally got dressed. After freshening up and having her meal, Ni Yang went out to clear the accumulated snow in the yard. As soon as she had finished sweeping the snow, she saw Gooden leading a group of kids their way. Everyone carried something in their hands. Sister Ni Yang, Andy Flower, my mom asked me to bring you these steamed buns, some fried cake, and eggs. Steamed buns are also known as momo. The fried cake is made from grinding yellow rice into flour, wrapping red bean stuffing inside, and frying until crispy. It is soft inside, and ooze filling when bitten, offering a delightful taste. It's a custom in Beijing to eat steamed buns and fried cakes for the new year. Steamed buns are made into various pleasing shapes to offer to relatives and friends when visiting their homes during the season. Under normal circumstances, they would not readily give away significant items like momo and fried cakes. However, they chose to give them to Ni Yang as everyone regards Ni Yang as a small lucky star in the village. Ni Yang didn't decline everyone's goodwill and accepted the gifts with a smile. She then reciprocated by placing some slices of bread, fruit candies, and other return gifts in the children's baskets. The children all said thank you very politely. Putting up couplets and cutting paper decorations during the new year is an indispensable part of the celebration. Ni Zihua brought red paper and scissors, busying herself with cutting paper decorations. Ni Yang's eyes were filled with smiles. How many years has it been since she had last experienced such a scene? In her previous life, she became the head of Ning Corporation and lived a lonely life. The festivals were the loneliest moments for her, where she could only view others celebrating their family reunions from a distance. Such warm moments like now were not something she dared yearn for. The present moment is so wonderful. Ni Yang gazed at everything, her eyes slightly red, but the corners of her mouth lifted into a faint smile, showing a pair of shallow dimples. Mom, let me help you. Ni Yang picked up the scissors and red paper. In no time, a vivid animal figure materialized in her hands. Yang Yang, Xiaomo is here. Ni Chenggui's voice rang from outside the door. Ni Yang lifted her head to see Mo Qishan carrying several big and small packages. Mo Qishan politely greeted Ni Zihua. Auntie, today is New Year's Day. These gifts are from my mother for you, wishing you safety, happiness, and abundance in the new year. Ni Zihua put down her scissors and stood up. Xiaoma, you and your mother are being too polite. How can we accept such extravagant gifts? Quickly make some tea for Xiaoma. and Yang stood up to prepare the tea. Emo Chishan said with a smile, Yang is a big benefactor to our family. My mother and our family are all very grateful to her. These gifts are nothing compared to that, Auntie. Don't be so polite. And Tsuehua replied, Xiaoma, make yourself comfortable at our place, just like it is your own home. Emo Chishan is a likable and well-mannered young man. And Tsuehua really liked this potential son-in-law, to the point where she already considered him part of the family. And Yang was beautiful, and Emo Chishan was likewise very handsome. They seemed to be a more perfect match the more she observed them. Brother Emo, have some tea. And Yang brought over a cup of clear tea. Emo Chishan stood up and received with both hands, Thank you, Yang. And Yang said with a smile, Why are you being so formal with me, Brother Emo? Just then, the crying of little Yun came from inside the house. And Tsuehua stood up, I'll go check on Yun, Yang, you stay here and chat with Xiaoma. In an instant, only Emo Chishan and Yang remained in the room. Emo Chishan said, Yang, I saw you were cutting paper decorations earlier. Can I help you? Sure. Yang nodded. Emo Chishan moved a small stool next to Yang, trying to calm the excitement in his heart. While pretending to be helping, he was stealing glances at Yang's profile. His wife's face was beautiful enough. Even her hands were lovely. Long, slender fingers, pale and delicate, moving through the red paper, they looked as exquisite as a plum blossom trodden in the snow. Chapter 273. A Very Happy New Year, a Mysteriously Powerful and Foolish Boss _3. In no time, Yin cut out a pair of beautiful paper cuttings for window decoration, more exquisite than those purchased on the street. Emo Chishan exclaimed in surprise, Yang, you're really amazing. Want to learn? I can teach you. Yin looked up at him. Okay. Emo Chishan nodded, his obedience akin to a big, dumbfounded dog, a far cry from his usual demeanor. Yin handed him a pair of scissors. First, fold the red paper like I did, and then cut it like this. Her voice was clear and melodious, carrying a comforting softness. Emo Chishan, however, couldn't focus on the paper cutting task at all. He wished he could fold her up and hide her away in his pocket, away from anyone else's gaze. So, when all the steps were completed, Yin's paper cutting formed a lively-looking little rabbit, while Emo Chishan's was just a messy piece of red paper. Yang, am I too stupid? Emo Chishan looked at Yin, somewhat embarrassed. Yin nodded confirmingly, you are a bit slow. But don't worry, I won't hold it against you. With that, she leaned over to take the red paper from his hand, guiding him through the motions. Brother Emo, you need to do it this way. There's a trick here. If you fold over from this side, it will work. Don't be too nervous, just relax. Emo Chishan's heartbeat sped up, feeling so nervous that even his ears flushed red. If Yin moved any closer, he might forget how to breathe. Seeing Emo Chishan so, Yin chuckled, Brother Emo, I want bite. What are you nervous about? Their actions weren't overly intimate, they were just a bit close. After all, Yin had come from the modern world. She was free from any shackles. But Emo Chishan was different. He had never been this close to a girl before. I'm not nervous, not at all, Emo Chishan insisted, though his hand holding the scissors was shaking. Seeing this, Yin laughed even harder. Brother Mo, just keep working on your paper cutting. Take your time, don't rush. I'll go check outside. As he watched Yin's receding figure, Emo Chishan silently raised his left hand and smacked his right hand hard. Stop shaking. Stop shaking. Stop shaking. What a coward. After a moment, footsteps sounded outside the door. Emo Chishan immediately straightened up and got seriously back to cutting the window paper, like a primary school student who was caught doing something wrong by the teacher. Yin walked in with a plate of warm bread. Brother Emo wants some bread? Emo Chishan replied without lifting his head, I'll eat after I finish this. After about 10 minutes, Emo Chishan lifted up his head and held up the finished paper cutting. Yang, is this paper cutting I made nice? Yin burst out laughing. Brother you're so clumsy. Emo Chishan, Yin handed Emo Chishan a piece of bread. Brother Emo, eat some bread first, Mo Chishan took the bread and, feeling depressed, took a couple of bites. How could he be so clumsy? He can't even make good paper cuttings. Ni Yen continued, Brother Mo, I was just joking with you. You're not stupid. Paper cutting is handiwork, and it's normal for a man like you not to be good at it. Mo Chishan looked up at Ni Yen. Really? Ni Yen nodded. After finishing the paper cuttings, Ni Yen brought out a brush and red paper and began writing couplets. Because buying couplets was too expensive, most of the couplets at this time were handwritten. Ni Yen handed the brush to Mo Chishan. Brother Mo, do you want to try this? Having failed at paper cutting, Mo Chishan certainly wanted to redeem himself on the couplets. Mo Chishan took the brush and started to write swiftly and confidently. Graceful and powerful, his calligraphy was naturally impressive. It was much more elaborate than the couplets bought on the street. Ni Chingui came in from outside and remarked in surprise, Xiaoma, your writing is really nice, no less impressive than that of Yang. Those who are good-looking all write well. Indeed, a person's character can be seen from their handwriting. Thank you for the compliment, Auntie Ni, Mo Chishan responded modestly. I'm embarrassed. Ni Yen laughed. We have 5 doors in total here, plus 10 at Auntie Ennis and 1 in the courtyard, making 16. Sister and I are going to put up the couplets. Brother Mo, the 16 doors are all yours. Mo Chishan replied, It would be my honor. Then, Ni Yen and Ni Chingui went out together to put up the couplets. Chapter 274. A Very Happy New Year, a Mysteriously Strong and Foolish Tycoon _4. During the process of pasting the couplets, Ni Chingui kept praising Mo Chishan. After pasting the couplets, Mo Chishan proposed to leave. As it was New Year's Eve, Ni Yang didn't wish to keep him for dinner, so she walked him to the door. Be careful on your way, Brother Mo. Mo Chishan was still riding his semi-old bicycle. It's cold outside, Yang, you should go back quickly. Ni Yang nodded. Mo Chishan pushed his bicycle for a few steps, then as if remembering something called out, Yang. Ni Yang turned back. Mo Chishan continued, Yang, do you want to go to the temple to burn incense with me tomorrow morning? It's common to go to the temple to burn incense on the morning of the first day of the Lunar New Year, pleading for peace in the coming year. Ni Yang didn't used to believe in such things, but now, she'd rather believe they have some effect than not. Ni Yang nodded. Okay, Brother Mo, we'll see each other tomorrow morning. Mo Chishan smiled and said, Then I'll come pick you up tomorrow morning. Mo Chishan waved at Ni Yang excitedly. Goodbye, Yang. Li Xianxia was an orphan without parents, and old Mrs. Mo, fearing that she'd be lonely, specially asked Mo Baichuan to bring her to the Mo family for the new year. This was the first time Li Xianxia was celebrating the new year at the Mo family. She was very excited, busily helping old Mrs. Mo out. Just at this moment, Mo Chishan walked in from the door. It had started snowing heavily without notice. Some snowflakes were stuck on his messy hair. He was originally handsome, but now, with his thin lips tightly pressed together, it seemed like a thin layer of ice had formed on his face. He was elegant and noble, like a crowned jade. Li Xianxian's heartbeat missed a beat at the sight. But Li Xianxian quickly recovered, realizing that it was all just a facade. He was 27 and had accomplished nothing. He certainly wasn't worth a second glance. Though Mo Baichuan might not look as handsome, he was far more capable than him. The look in Li Xianxian's eyes gradually turned into disdain, but she still greeted him politely, Uncle Mo. Mo Chishan just nodded lightly in response. Old Mrs. Mo teased with a smile, Oh, 6, come over. We still haven't written our couplets. We're waiting for you to do it. Mo Chishan collapsed onto the sofa. I can't, I'm too tired today. Let me rest a while. Li Xianxian saw an opportunity to speak. Grandma, I remember Baichuan also writes very well. Shall I call him down? Certainly, the task of displaying talents like writing couplets should be performed by Mo Baichuan. How could they let a good-for-nothing like Mo Chishan take advantage of the opportunity? Old Mrs. Mo nodded. You go. Li Xianxian turned around and went upstairs. Old Mrs. Mo turned to Mo Chishan and asked, Old 6, did you deliver the gift I asked you to give Yang? Mo Qishan lazily responded with a sound, appearing nonchalant about it. Old Mrs. Mo shook her head helplessly. At this moment, Li Xianxian and Mo Baichuan came down. Mo Baichuan politely greeted old Mrs. Mo and Mo Qishan. Old Mrs. Mo smiled and said, "Chuan Chuan, you and Xianxian will write the couplets. I'll go to the kitchen." Mo Baichuan was really not interested in dealing with Li Xianxian, but he also didn't want to give her the cold shoulder. Firstly, because Li Xianxian had been invited by old Mrs. Mo and his father. Secondly, he wanted to use Li Xianxian to make Yang jealous. The two of them stayed in the living room to write the couplets. While praising Mo Baichuan's handwriting, Li Xianxian talked to him about the business world. Upon hearing a certain business term, Mo Qishan, who had been napping with his eyes closed, opened his eyes and asked, "What were you just saying?" Li Xianxian gave a faint smile, sarcasm hidden in the depths of her eyes. "Uncle Mo, Baichuan and I were discussing matters about the business world, stuff you wouldn't understand." He was nothing more than a good-for-nothing. Even if they explained it to him, it would be like playing a lute to a cow. Li Xianxian couldn't understand how someone as useless as Mo Qishan could appear in a distinguished family like the Mo's. Even if not everyone could be as excellent as Mo Baichuan, surely they wouldn't be someone who had accomplished nothing. It was indeed Mo Qishan's fortune to be born into the Mo family. If he were born into an ordinary family, he might have starved to death by now. Mo Baichuan didn't say a word. Mo Qishan didn't get angry either. He continued to nap with his eyes closed, not showing the slightest bit of annoyance. The Ni family. After Mo Qishan left, Ni Zhihua immediately unpacked the gifts he had brought. She found not only a lot of imported snacks in the parcels, but also a folded stroller. Ni Zhihua had never seen a stroller and didn't recognize it, so she called Ni Yang over. Chapter 275. A Very Happy New Year. A mysteriously strong and foolish tycoon under Sk5. Ni Yang looked surprised. "Isn't this a baby stroller?" She didn't expected that there were foldable strollers in this era. Seeing this stroller gave Ni Yang a feeling of being back in her future life. "Baby stroller?" Ni Zhihua looked puzzled. Ni Yang explained, "A baby stroller is for children as big as Yun Yun to sit in. You'll understand once I assemble it." The packaging of the stroller had all French markings. This was obviously a stroller imported directly from F country. Imported goods were scarce at this time. Even if you had money, you couldn't get it. You needed foreign exchange coupons. Even with foreign exchange coupons, you couldn't necessarily buy the baby stroller from F country. You had to rely on connections and find someone to get you one. Ni Yang quickly assembled the stroller. "Mom, go bring Yun Yun over to try it." "Okay." Ni Zhihua nodded and went inside to fetch the baby. Little Ni Yun was riding in such a luxury stroller for the first time. She was so excited that she burst into laughter. Ni Yang wanted to hold her, but she refused to get up. This was the first time Ni Zhihua and Ni Qinggui had seen a luxury stroller like this. They were both amazed. The person who invented the stroller is really smart. Why don't we have this kind of brain? Ni Zhihua held Ni Yang's hand and said, Yang, you must thank Xiaoma properly." "Yes, Mom, I know." Ni Yang nodded. Because it was New Year's Day, they had a simple lunch. The focus was on the reunion dinner in the evening. After eating lunch, Ni Yang went into the kitchen to prepare the reunion dinner. Ni Zhihua and Ni Qinggui were both in the kitchen, ready to lend a hand. The kitchen was filled with laughter, very lively. Ni Zhihua cradled the baby and sat near the stove to make the fire. The flames were very vigorous. The fire shone on Ni Qihua's smiling face. Her life was like this firewood. The more it burned, the more prosperous it got. In Beijing, it was customary to offer dishes to the heavens and the earth on New Year's Eve. Out of respect for the heavens and earth, it was important to prepare the tribute dish first. There were 6 bowls of tribute dish in total. The first 3 bowls were dragon and phoenix beads. The last 3 bowls were vegetarian dishes. The so-called dragon and phoenix beads were fish, rooster, and pork. There were no specific requirements for vegetarian dishes, as long as they were entirely plant-based. The chicken and the fish could not be cut, they had to be cooked whole, and there were 6 large pieces of fat meat. Yang was quick at her task. She quickly prepared the 6 tribute dishes and put them aside in a pot to keep them warm. Then she started preparing the dishes for the reunion dinner. Since it was the new year, fish and meat were a must. They were tired of sour fish, grilled fish, and red braised fish. So Yang decided to cook a squirrel fish. The squirrel fish was made from carp. The rivers were not polluted during this era. The taste of the carp was very delicious, even better than the yellow river carp. The squirrel fish was a bit complicated. First, Yang removed the fishbone, then cut the fish into spikelets, rolled the fish in cornstarch, fried it in a pan until both sides were brown, stir-fried the seasoning in the pan, and finally poured the fried seasoning on the fish. A dish of squirrel fish with attractive color, aroma, and taste was done. The squirrel fish looked great, like a dish served at a state-owned restaurant. Xianxia was amazed. "Yang, you are truly amazing." Yang laughed modestly. After the squirrel fish, Yang took out the marinated rooster and roasted it in the bread kiln. Next, Yang began making several small dishes. Chives fried with shrimp. Chives had a warming effect. In the middle of winter, eating chives could dispel external cold and relieve cold in women's uterus. Women tend to be more beautiful when they're warm. Braised duck feet with quail eggs. Quail eggs contained high amounts of protein, lecithin, iron, and vitamins. They were nutritionally rich and perfect for nourishing lustrous black hair. Beauty is from head to toe. It was not enough just to have a pretty face. The hair must also be glossy. Braised pig's feet with soybeans. Pig's feet and soybeans were good for enhancing the breasts. In order to maintain a perfect bust, Yang ate breast-enhancing foods almost every day. Her efforts proved effective. Every night when Yang took a bath, she would marvel quietly. Thus, it was important to maintain. Sweet and sour pork with pineapple. According to the Compendium of Materia Medica, pineapples could clear heat, promote digestion, reduce inflammation, and remove dampness. In addition, pineapples contained sugars, starch, protein, B vitamins, etc., which could prevent sagging buttocks. Chapter 276, A Very Happy New Year, A Mysteriously Strong and Foolish Tycoon _6. So, sweet and sour pork with pineapple is also very good for toning the glutes. As all of the dishes had some meat in them, Yang made vegetable tofu soup. The vegetable tofu soup not only dissipates the heaviness, but also has excellent slimming effects. Busy till a little after 5 in the afternoon, Yang finally prepared a table full of dishes. By then, Xianxia and Xianxia were already setting the table outside in the yard for the ritual offering to heaven and earth. Yang placed 3 meat dishes and 3 vegetarian dishes on the table, setting 9 pairs of chopsticks and 9 wine glasses, each filled with wine. After the offerings were arranged, Xianxia and Xianxia burnt incense sticks and spirit money on the side while Yang threw out a string of lit firecrackers. The red paper from the firecrackers dropped onto the white snow, resembling red plums blooming fiercely against the snow, appearing rather picturesque. Then, the sounds of firecrackers began to be heard all around. The sound of firecrackers represents bidding farewell to the old and welcoming the new, so no matter how poor a family is, they would set off a string of firecrackers at this time. After setting off the firecrackers, it is customary to bow in reverence to heaven and earth. Yang took this act seriously and performed a few deep bows. Having paid their respects to heaven and earth, they all went back inside to enjoy their meal. It seemed as if little Yun could sense the festive atmosphere. Sitting in her stroller, she excitedly watched Yang and Xianxia moving dishes from the kitchen to the living room. With a table full of food and smiles on their faces, the new year had arrived. "Mom and I raise my glass to you both. May you both become increasingly youthful and beautiful, and find happiness soon," said Yang, standing up with her wine glass in hand. Xianxia laughed and replied, "And Auntie wishes that your business will boom even more, and you'll become a wealthy woman one day." Little did Xianxia realize that what she said would actually come true. Not only did Yang become a wealthy woman, she became the most eyed among them. Halfway through the meal, Ni Qinggui took out a thick red envelope and gave it to Ni Yang. Yang, this is Auntie's New Year gift money for you. You better not think it's too little. Ni Yang took it with a grin. Thank you, Aunt Ni. Ni Qinggui took out another envelope and stuffed it into little Ni Yun's arms. May our Yun Yun become increasingly beautiful and intelligent as she grows, just like her elder sister. Little Ni Yun, holding the red envelope, started to giggle happily. Our little money lover. Ni Yang lightly tapped little Ni Yun's nose. Ni Tsuehua said, Sister Ching'e, you're really too kind. Ni Qinggui laughed and said, we are all family, so drop your formalities. And Ni, this is my New Year gift to you. I hope you'll like the style. Ni Yang handed Ni Qinggui a prepared jewelry box. When Ni Qinggui opened the box, she was totally stunned. She saw earrings, a ring, and a necklace inside it. No woman can resist jewelry. When Ni Qinggui got married, she dreamed of buying a complete 3-piece gold set. She thought that if she couldn't get the 3 pieces, just one would be good enough. But life was hard at the time. Forget about gold, even affording food was a struggle. Even now, Ni Qinggui still couldn't bear to buy the 3 pieces of gold. She only makes 30 yuan a month. Even with the extra income from helping Ni Yang sell skincare products, her monthly income is nearly 200 yuan. She would need to save for a long time to afford something that costs several thousand yuan. Yang, how can Auntie accept such an expensive gift from you? You should give them to your mom to wear. Ni Qinggui immediately refused. Ni Tsuehua responded by saying, Sister Qinggui, like you said, we're family, there's no need for formalities. Plus, Yang bought a set for me too. I'm just one person, how much could I possibly wear? Ni Yang grabbed the necklace and assisted Ni Qinggui to put it around her neck. And Ni, my mom has no other siblings, you are her only sister. Please accept this as a token of my filial piety. See how good you look wearing this necklace. Every New Year's Eve was the toughest for Ni Qinggui. Every time, she found herself reminiscing about her deceased husband and her married-off daughter, which would uncontrollably bring her to tears. But this year was different. The arrival of Ni Tsuehua and her daughter Ni Yang brought her a sense of hope. Yang, thank you. Ni Qinggui gripped Ni Yang's hand, fighting back the urge to cry. Ni Yang offered Ni Qinggui a hug. When they were almost done with the New Year's Eve dinner, Ni Yang grabbed the fireworks. Mom and Ni, shall we set off the fireworks? Sure, both Ni Qinggui and Ni Tsuehua agreed. Chapter 277, Avery Happy New Year. A mysteriously strong and foolish tycoon _7 3 adults and a child stepped out of the courtyard with fireworks. Ni Yang lit the biggest firework. Bang! At its highest point, the firework burst into a dazzling display, one after another, unmatched in radiance. At this time, no other fireworks could be seen in the village, leaving the fireworks from Ni Yang's side to captivate many children. Wow, the fireworks are breathtaking. Guden replied, the fireworks are beautiful, but can they compare to my sister Ni Yang? Of course, Sister Ni Yang is the most beautiful. In the hearts of these children, Sister Ni Yang was always the prettiest. She could be the sun as well as the moon. Ni Yang distributed spariders and firecrackers to Guden and the other kids. Shall we set off the fireworks together? Yes. Thank you, Sister Ni Yang. The children all jumped with glee. Ni Yang held a lit sparkler, darting around with the children in the snow. Her dark eyes reflected brightly, Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year, Sister Ni Yang. The light from the fireworks reflected on the laughing faces of the children, and even the adults standing by smiled. What is Chinese New Year? This scene before us was Chinese New Year. After the fireworks display, Ni Yang and the children lit a bonfire in the snow. They brought stools from their homes, sat by the bonfire, and chatted and laughed together. In that moment, Ni Yang felt as if she had returned to her childhood. Before the children left, Ni Yang brought out more than 20 red envelopes from her home to give to the children. Guden secretly opened his red envelope. Struck gold. There was a whole 2 yuan in there. The red envelopes from his grandparents and parents combined didn't have this much. Sister Ni Yang is the best. No, he must hide it so the adults wouldn't find out. But the next morning, the new year 1's money Gooden had stashed away had disappeared. Angry, he confronted his parents. Dad, Mom, did you take my New Year's money? Han Xiaoqin grinned. Don't you need to pay tuition fees when school starts? Yes. Gooden nodded. Han Xiaoqin continued. Well, then Mom will help you save the money. It isn't safe for a child to carry so much money. Gooden. He felt something was off, but he couldn't put his finger on what was wrong. So, the matter of the New Year's money had to be dropped. Although Ni Yang didn't sleep until the early hours of the New Year's Eve, she got up early the next day. The breakfast was prepared by Ni Chengge. The customs in Beijing were different from those in Dam Village. On the first day of the Chinese New Year in Dam Village, they ate dumplings, but in Beijing, they ate noodles with marinated eggs. However, here the marinated eggs are not called marinated eggs, but ingots. So, the following dialogue ensued. Yang, how many ingots do you want? Ni Yang replied, I want one. Ni Chengge smiled and said, good things come in pairs, take 2. Then he ladled 2 marinated eggs into Ni Yang's bowl. Ni Yang, could she refuse? The family of 3 and a guest sat around a table eating noodles. In front of the village, a black luxury car was parked on the road. The man in the back seat was holding a red paper and scissors, absorbed in what he was cutting. After a while, the man put down what he was holding, got out of the car. You can go back first, don't come to pick me up this afternoon. Also, cancel all meetings for the next few days. Yes, sir. Morris nodded respectfully. Watching the man's figure disappear into the village ahead, Marcus started the engine and left. Morris, can you guess why Mr. Mogg comes to such a desolate place? Morris shrugged. More than that, I'm more curious about when Mr. Mogg started getting obsessed with folk art. He finished speaking and picked up the paper cutout from the back seat. Although it was Mr. Mogg who had cut the paper, Morris still had to say, it was really ugly. Marcus frowned slightly. Is that a paper cutout? Yes. Morris nodded. Marcus rubbed his chin. Could it be that Mr. Mogg underpins local Chinese folk art, hence specially visiting the countryside for research? Morris squinted. Very likely. Everyone is curious about Mr. Mogg's recent whereabouts, right? I think it might be good to let this news out. I agree. Mo Chishan didn't anticipate that his simple intention of making paper cuttings to amuse Ni Yang would unintentionally become a trend in high society. Numerous wealthy heiresses and business magnates, upon hearing that Mr. Mogg was fond of paper cutting, in order to find a common topic with Mr. Mogg, started practicing the art of paper cutting at home. Just after having lunch, Mo Chishan arrived. Ni Yang had a good reputation in Jinghua village, and Mo Chishan was very good at connecting with people, so when the villagers saw Mo Chishan going to Ni's family, they had no objections, nor were there any rumors. It's just normal interaction. What, aren't they allowed to have friends? Mo Chishan entered the house, first paying his New Year greetings to Ni Chengge and Ni Zuihua, and then turned to Ni Yang. Yang, are you ready? Shall we leave? Before Ni Yang could respond, Ni Zuihua said with a smile, She's ready, she's ready. You young people should go out and play. Mom and I will leave then. Ni Yang looked at Ni Zuihua and Ni Chengge. Go ahead, it's alright if you don't come back for lunch. Your Aunt Ni and I can enjoy something special at home. Sure, off you go. Ni Yang followed Mo Chishan and they left the house together. As they walked side by side, Ni Yang asked unexpectedly, Mo brother, didn't you ride a bike today? Mo Chishan explained, the Nyowang temple is on the top of the mountain, so it's not convenient to ride a bike. Ni Yang raised her eyebrows slightly, so we have to walk there? Mo Chishan nodded, smart. Before she could respond, he added, if you're worried about being tired, I can carry you. After all, I'm a bit slow but very strong. As Mo Chishan was speaking, he glanced curiously at Ni Yang. Ni Yang chuckled, so, isn't Mo brother's nickname Big Stupid? Seeing that Ni Yang wasn't angry, Mo Chishan let out a sigh of relief. Yang, you're really smart. As long as he could win over his sweetheart, even if he had to work like an ox or a horse, what did it matter even if his nickname was Big Stupid? Today was the first day of the new year, and there were many people going to the temple to worship. Along the way, Yang met countless people, even some regular customers who often ate at the noodle restaurant. Chapter 278. Strolling together in the temple fair, elderly Zheng begins the investigation. Although Niuwang Temple was located at the top of the hill, Yang didn't feel tired at all on the way up. Mo Qishan was secretly surprised. Oh my god! His wife was too strong. She climbed such a high mountain without even a trace of blush on her face. He had been waiting for Yang to become unable to keep climbing, so he could step in and play the hero to save his damsel in distress. But now it seemed that he had thought too much. Looking down from the high vantage point of the mountain, there was a boundless white as far as the eye could see, which was extraordinarily spectacular. The temple at the top of the mountain was still crowded with various vendors. Sugar dolls, candied hawthorns, sugar canes, Buddha beads, bracelet, and other knickknacks were all present, making it a paradise for children. This scene could not be found in the future life. Yang, shall we go over there for a look? Mo Qishan suggested. All right. Yang nodded. The two went inside. Mo Qishan bought 2 sticks of candied hawthorn and handed one to Yang. Yang reached out and took it, peeled off the sugar paper, bit into it lightly, and found it was sour, sweet, and very delicious. The air in this era had not yet been polluted, so even the candied hawthorns tasted much more delicious than those of the future. This was Yang's first time at such a temple fair. She was overjoyed like a child, buying and eating whatever she saw, not hesitating to spend money at all. Mo Qishan followed behind her, and before a moment had passed, his hands were filled with belongings. Xianxia and Mo Baichuan also came. Although the two walked shoulder to shoulder, they lacked a natural feeling. Mo Baichuan always had a cold expression, while Xianxia was cautiously trying to please him, creating a feeling like a warm face pressed against a cold butt. Yet, Xianxia thoroughly enjoyed this feeling. After all, Mo Baichuan was a mysterious big shot, and it was normal for him to have his own temper. She certainly couldn't expect him, a big man, to sweet-talk her, right? In this world, how many successful men are willing to humble themselves to coax women? None at all, right? As long as Xianxia knew that she was in Mo Baichuan's heart, that was more than enough for her. Baichuan, I've heard that the incense in this place is very efficacious. Let's go burn some incense sticks, shall we? Xianxia looked up at Mo Baichuan, her eyes full of infatuation. Mo Baichuan glanced at the surging crowd and impatiently responded, "You go by yourself." Just then, a familiar figure crossed his line of sight. She wore a knee-length red down jacket, her black, glossy hair tied in a bun, revealing a delicate, fair neck. Her adorable smile and beautiful eyes made her look extremely attractive. The usually bulky down jacket didn't look bulky at all on her, but rather accentuated her tall figure and slim waist. The red color was ordinarily gaudy, but on her, it only emphasized her youthful beauty, outshining everything else around. Mo Baichuan was suddenly reminded of the first time he saw her in Dam Village. The first time he saw her, he thought she was no different from rural girls in the mountains. Yet, when she spoke, she dazzled him. Although Mo Baichuan was reluctant to admit it, on that occasion, Yang did truly save him. If Yang hadn't displayed such courage in the face of danger, convincingly faking being a local to fool those people, he might be dead by now. Beside Yang, Mo Baichuan also spotted a person he found very annoying. It was Mo Qishan. In Mo Baichuan's view, Mo Qishan was useless apart from his good looks. Even if Yang wanted to attract his attention, she should not have chosen Mo Qishan, because Mo Qishan was absolutely no match for him. Xianxia also noticed Mo Qishan and Yang. She carefully gripped Mo Baichuan's hand. "Baichuan, shall we go greet Yang and Uncle Six?" Mo Baichuan didn't respond, but his body faithfully followed Xianxia. Seeing him like this, Xianxia was filled with joy. She felt that the only reason Mo Baichuan agreed to extend a greeting was because of her. Knowing uncle and nephew didn't get along, and that as far as she knew, Mo Baichuan didn't have a good impression of Ni Yang and even disliked her. Yang, Uncle Six, Happy New Year, Li Xianxian took the initiative to greet. Ni Yang seemed to have become even more beautiful after not seeing her for a month. She was so beautiful that it made one jealous. But what use was beauty? Could beauty be eaten? Now that Ni Yang had chosen to be with a useless man like Mo Qishan, suffering was undoubtedly waiting for her in the future. Because in Li Xianxian's memories of her past life, the one who ended up inheriting the Mo family was not Mo Qishan at all. Chapter Strolling together in the temple fair, elderly Zheng begins the investigation. In the end, Mo Qishan seemed to have evaporated from the world, and no news of him could be traced. For a good-for-nothing like Mo Qishan, if he didn't have the support of the Mo family, he would be left to sit and wait for death. Maybe he didn't even make it to the next lifetime. Mockery filled Li Xianxian's eyes. Ni Yang replied to her with a good-natured smile, "Happy New Year." Her harmless demeanor was as if she had never had any issues with Li Xianxian. "Yang, are you and Uncle Six also here to burn incense?" Li Xianxian asked. Ni Yang nodded. Li Xianxian continued, "Since we're all here to burn incense, why don't we do it together?" Buddhist temples were places of tranquility, and Ni Yang wasn't interested in mingling with Li Xianxian or Mo Baichuan. As if sensing Ni Yang's thoughts, Mo Qishan immediately declined, "No, Yang and I have other things to do." "Right." Ni Yang nodded. "Brother Mo, let's go." The two of them turned and walked away. Watching their retreating figures, Mo Baichuan's eyes hinted at a storm brewing. What other things could they possibly be doing together, a man and a woman? What on earth was Ni Yang doing behind his back with Mo Qishan? "Baichuan." Li Xianxian tugged Mo Baichuan's sleeve. At that, Mo Baichuan came back to his senses and held Li Xianxian's hand. "Let's go." He didn't believe that Ni Yang would be able to keep her cool after all this. Feeling the rugged hand, full of calluses, holding hers, Li Xianxian's face reddened, and her heart pounded wildly. There were many people burning incense in the temple, packed like sardines. Men and women were all crowded together. One careless step could knock people over. Mo Qishan stood by Ni Yang's side to prevent her from getting tripped or taken advantage of. The two squeezed into the temple, donated incense money, and seriously bowed and burned incense. Seeing Ni Yang so focused, Mo Qishan also began to take it seriously. When they were descending the mountain, the crowd had thinned. But the sun had come out, melting the snow on the mountain, making the path slippery and hard to walk. Ni Yang's shoes weren't slip-resistant. She almost slipped, but Mo Qishan caught her arm in time. "Yang, be careful." "Thank you, brother." Ni Yang gripped his arm and cautiously stepped forward. Mo Qishan, who had long strides due to his height, walked steadily. "No need to be afraid, I won't let you fall." Interestingly, on the way down the mountain, they again bumped into Mo Baichuan and Li Xianxian. As the four of them passed each other, Mo Baichuan, clutching Li Xianxian's hand, initiated the greeting, "Uncle Six." Mo Qishan nodded in acknowledgement. Mo Baichuan thought that seeing him and Li Xianxian being so affectionate would stir Ni Yang's emotions. But to his surprise, Ni Yang didn't react at all. Instead, she greeted Li Xianxian with a bright smile. Mo Baichuan was irritated but maintained his poise. He put his arm around Li Xianxian's shoulder and walked ahead briskly, leaving Ni Yang and Mo Qishan behind. Why should he always watch Ni Yang and Mo Qishan's backs? It was time Ni Yang tasted this herself. Watching the handsome profile of the man walking beside her, Li Xianxian's face flushed with shyness. Ni Yang and Mo Qishan continued to stroll at a slow pace. Ni Yang deliberately slowed down because she really didn't want to confront Li Xianxian and Mo Baichuan, two annoying people, on this auspicious day of the year. For his part, Mo Qishan wished Ni Yang would walk even slower, as he genuinely enjoyed her company. The two walked leisurely, not speaking much, but with his heart filled with warmth and sweetness. Mo Qishan felt blissful as if he had tasted honey. At noon, Mo Qishan stayed for a meal at the Ni residence. At the dining table, Ni Zuihua enthusiastically served Mo Qishan while piling up dishes on his plate. "Xiaoma, we don't have much to offer you." Please feel free to eat anything you want. As a result, Emo Chishan, who usually had the appetite of one bowl of rice, ended up eating 3 whole bowls due to Ni Quihua's warm hospitality. Afterwards, Ni Yang passed a cup of tea to Emo Chishan. As soon as Emo Chishan opened the lid, he could smell the sour and sweet aroma. It was hawthorn tea. The hawthorn had the effect of aiding digestion. Oh my, his wife was so thoughtful. Emo Chishan sipped his tea calmly, feeling extremely gratified. After drinking a few sips of the tea, Emo Chishan rolled up his sleeves and went to the kitchen to help Ni Yang. Chapter 280, Strolling Together in the Temple Fair, elderly Zheng begins the investigation as Ni Yang turned her eyes to Emo Chishan. Brother Emo, please go out. The kitchen is not a place for men like you. Emo Chishan chuckled. A real man should be able to entertain in the living room and cook in the kitchen. Ni Yang chuckled lightly. Then I will wash the dishes, and you can dry them. Emo Chishan took the dish from Ni Yang. Or I should wash the dishes, and you can dry them. He thought, how could he let his wife do the dirty and exhausting work of washing dishes? In her previous life, Ni Yang had never dated a man, so she didn't know what her feelings towards Emo Chishan were. But she knew, if it were any other man, she'd refuse without hesitation, and she certainly wouldn't let him get this close. Could it be love? Ni Yang suddenly wondered in her heart. She glanced at Emo Chishan, seeing him concentrating on washing the dishes. The dim light in the room cast a halo on him, making him look noble and mysterious. Even washing dishes didn't affect his aura. Ni Yang felt her ears turn slightly red. She suppressed those strange thoughts in her heart and continued drying the dishes. As it was approaching evening, Emo Chishan suggested saying goodbye. He had been at the Ni family's home all day long. If he stayed longer, the elders would think he was too thoughtless. Ni Yang held little Ni Yun and walked him to the door. Yun, say goodbye to Brother Emo. Little Ni Yun obediently waved at Emo Chishan. On the second day of the Chinese New Year, Ni Yang took Ni Zuihua to the city, planning to buy some houses in the city center. The mother-daughter duo looked neat and pretty, and were warmly welcomed as soon as they arrived at the sales office. Ni Yang chose a high-end community. The price of each square meter was 122 yuan. The saleswoman introduced from behind. The light in this house is excellent. It's north-south oriented, warm in winter and cool in summer. You can feel it now. The temperature inside is at least 10 degrees higher than outside. Ni Yang was looking at a house on the first floor. When opening the balcony door, she could see that a small garden of about 10 square meters was included outside the balcony. Seeing the small garden, Ni Quihua's eyes lit up, and she said with a smile, "This small garden is nice. You can even grow vegetables here." Grow vegetables? The saleswoman, who had been hoping to sell a house, was discouraged. Who among those rich enough to buy a house would want to grow vegetables? It became clear that these two women were not here to buy a house, but to put on airs. She sighed. All her efforts were in vain. As she thought so, the enthusiasm of the saleswoman was doused. She treated the mother and daughter with indifference, and her face expressed disgust. At that moment, a new colleague was passing by. The saleswoman took her by the hand, lowered her voice and said, Xiaofang, I have 2 customers here for you to practice." Lu Xiaofang was puzzled. "Sister Yuan Man, why don't you handle them yourself?" Li Yuan Man was straightforward. "These 2 obviously can't afford a house. I don't want to waste my time on them. I have to go now." Lu Xiaofang smiled and said, "Okay, thanks Sister Yuan Man." She was a new employee and could be fired if she didn't do well. Lu Xiaofang really had no reason to refuse. Ni Yang didn't notice that the saleswoman had been replaced in a short while. She turned around and asked with a smile, "How many units per floor do you have in this building?" Lu Xiaofang was still enthusiastic and explained, "There are 2 units on each floor of this building, and the number 8 block next to it has 4 units per floor." Ni Yang nodded and then said, "I'll buy the whole 1st to 3rd floor then." "Buy the whole 1st to 3rd floor?" Lu Xiaofang almost thought she was hallucinating. You're not joking with me, are you? There are 6 units on the 1st to 3rd floor. The total of these 6 units is over 600 square meters, which is nearly 70,000 yuan. Could this little girl really pay 70,000 yuan? Ni Yang smiled and said, "Don't worry, I'm not joking. Let's go and sign the contract." When they got to the lobby, Lu Xiaofeng found out Ni Yang was not joking. Because inside the backpack Ni Yang was carrying, it was filled with cash. Lu Xiaofeng covered her mouth in astonishment. Ni Yang paid the full amount for 6 houses at once, receiving 6 house deeds and 6 keys in return. Chapter 281. Strolling together in the temple fair, elderly Zheng begins the investigation. Even after she left the sales office, Ni Qihua's steps still felt shaky. "Yang, do you really think the price of all those houses we bought will go up in the future? A good 75,000 yuan we are talking about. If I said it didn't hurt a bit, it would be a lie." Ni Yang smiled and assured, "Don't worry, Mom. The prices will definitely increase. When have I ever made a loss-making deal?" Based on the price of tens of thousands per square meter in the later years, the 6 houses she bought today could be sold for over 90 million in the future. Isn't that a significant profit? Seeing Ni Yang's confidence, Ni Cuihua felt noticeably relieved. The sales office. The news of Lu Xiaofeng selling 6 houses all at once spread through the entire sales office in no time. Li Yuan Man exclaimed in envy and surprise, "Xiaofeng, have you walked into a streak of darn luck? You actually bumped into such a big client." At this point, selling a house comes with no commission but a rather rewarding bonus. Selling 1 house gets a reward of 30 yuan. Calculating that, Lu Xiaofeng made 180 yuan in just 1 day. 180 yuan. This pretty much compares to half a year's salary earned slaving away. How could Li Yuan Man not be envious? Lu Xiaofeng laughed and said, "Sister Yuan Man, I have to thank you for this. If it weren't for you letting me handle those 2 customers, how could I possibly have sold 6 houses in one go?" Li Yuan Man seemed to be petrified and her face became pale white. After a long moment, she responded, "You mean, those 6 houses were bought by that mother and daughter duo? Those 2 seemed so poor, how could they have possibly afforded a house?" Lu Xiaofeng nodded, "Yes. Sister Yuan Man, I am really grateful to you. My father is going to have a surgery soon, at least now I won't have to worry about the money. Sister Yuan Man, you're practically a savior to our family." Lu Xiaofeng was clever. She didn't want Li Yuan Man to come to her later asking to borrow money, so she deliberately shut her up in advance. Hearing that, Li Yuan Man wanted to slap herself to death. 180 yuan. Half a year's salary. It's a whole half a year's salary. She just handed over her half a year's wage. Li Yuan Man felt as if all the strength drained out of her body. It took her a while to recover, like she had just suffered a small death. After leaving the sales office, Ni Yang and Ni Cuihua didn't head straight home. They wandered around the department store and then went to a state-owned restaurant for lunch. Of course, Ni Yang's purpose of this trip was not just to eat, but also to broaden Ni Qihua's horizons and elevate her taste. Ni Cuihua could not always stay cloistered in Jinghua village. The world was huge and Ni Cuihua was still young. Ni Yang wished that she could find her own happiness. The state-owned restaurant was beautifully decorated, shiny and luxurious, leaving Ni Cuihua in awe. 3 people, 2 adults and a kid. Ni Yang ordered 5 dishes in total. There were sea cucumbers, abalones, and a pot of bird's nest soup. All were high-end dishes, and naturally quite expensive. Just a small pot of bird's nest soup cost 35 yuan. A dish of sea cucumber was 25 yuan and 1 abalone cost 15 yuan. Also, there was the so-called most expensive mushroom, the white truffle. Just a small dish cost 58 yuan. If it were Ni Cuihua half a year ago, she would never have dreamed that one day she would sit in a state-owned restaurant, enjoying such extravagant meals. It felt like a dream. Ni Yang patiently explained these dishes to Ni Cuihua. "Mom, let's have the bird's nest soup before the meal." "Okay." Ni Cuihua nodded, scooped up some bird's nest soup with a spoon, and drank it leisurely. The way she was now, you could hardly tell that Ni Cuihua was a country girl. She was like a gem dusted with dirt, now cleaned up, presenting an elegant and charming side. Ni Yang inherited a lot of good qualities from Ni Cuihua. The three of them, the mother and two daughters, sat by the window in the large dining hall, attracting the attention of other customers. This included the old lady Zheng, who came down from upstairs. She not only looked over, but walked straight up to them, almost unconsciously. Yang, old lady Zheng said in surprise. In the beginning, she had only been focused on Ni Zihua and hadn't noticed Ni Yang. Mrs. Zheng. Ni Yang was slightly surprised as well. Old lady Zheng smiled and asked, Yang, is this your mother? Ni Yang nodded and introduced, this is my mom, and this is my little sister, Yun. Mom, this is old lady Zheng. Holding little Ni Yun, Ni Zuehua stood up, hello, Mrs. Zheng. Old lady Zheng looked at little Ni Yun, hello, may I hold her? Chapter 282, Strolling together in the temple fair, elderly Zheng begins the investigation as Ni Zuehua nodded, all right, but this child is a bit shy. Before Ni Zuehua could finish her sentence, little Ni Yun in her arms reached out towards Granny Zheng, mumbling indistinctly, hold. The scene in front of her seemed to overlap with one from over 30 years ago, bringing a tingle to Granny Zheng's nose as she reached out to take little Ni Yun. Today, little Ni Yun was not only not shy, but he also constantly giggled at Granny Zheng, seeming very happy. Even Ni Zihua on the side was astonished by this. Moreover, she couldn't understand why every time she saw this old lady, she'd feel so familiar and warm. Very strange. While holding little Ni Yun and containing her inner emotion, Granny Zheng asked softly, how old is this child? Over 7 months, replied Ni Zuehua. Granny Zheng nodded and continued playing with the child in her arms. Just then, both Zheng Lingling and Zheng Xianxia stepped out from an upstairs room. As soon as they descended the stairs, they were struck by the sight before them. In Granny Zheng's arms was an adorable infant, 6 to 7 months old, while she had a warm smile spread across her face. This smile was too gentle. A smile that Granny Zheng never wore at the Zheng family residence. Instantly, Zheng Lingling sensed danger. If Granny Zheng could adopt her more than 30 years ago, she could also adopt others now. No way. She could not let Granny Zheng adopt anyone else. If Granny Zheng adopts another person, it means there would be one more person competing with her for inheritance. The Zheng family's wealth could only belong to her and her daughter. She absolutely wouldn't let anyone snatch away what belonged to her. Reading her mother's intentions, Zheng Xianxia gave a nod of agreement when Zheng Lingling signaled her with her eyes, let's go and call Grandma back. As she got closer, Zheng Xianxia noticed that Ni Yang was also present. Why was this annoying girl everywhere? Grandma, Zheng Xianxia approached and squeezed Granny Zheng's arm, expressing surprise. Sister Ni Yang is also here. Ni Yang greeted them in a polite manner, hello, Sister Xianxia auntie. Being an opportunist, Zheng Lingling wore a warm smile and said, hello, you must be Ni Yang, right? My mother always praises you. I'm glad to finally see you in person. Upon finishing, she turned to Granny Zheng. Mom, it's getting late, shall we go home? Granny Zheng held little Ni Yun and looked at Zheng Lingling. Lingling, don't you think this child is very cute? Actually, there was another sentence that Granny Zheng didn't say out loud. This child really looked like Tingting when she was young. Zheng Lingling nodded with a smile. Yes, he's adorable, looks a lot like Ni Yang. Seeing that Granny Zheng was unwilling to let go of little Ni Yun, Zheng Xianxia suggested, Grandma, let's hurry up, Uncle Lu has been waiting outside for a long time. Uncle Lu was the Zheng family's driver. Hearing this, Granny Zheng finally let go of little Ni Yun and handed him back to Ni Zihua. Ni Yang's mom, Ni Yang, will be heading home now. Goodbye, little Ni Yun. After Granny Zheng and others left, Ni Zihua asked Ni Yang about the old lady. Ni Yang, how did you get to know Granny Zheng? Ni Yang explained how she met Granny Zheng to Ni Zihua. Hearing this, Ni Zihua nodded. So Granny Zheng is an old acquaintance of Xiaomo's family. No wonder her temperament is different from ordinary grandmothers. Her daughter dresses like a well-to-do lady too. Ni Yang replied with a laugh. Mom, one day you will be like Aunt Zheng too, becoming a lady. Ni Zuehua laughed softly. I don't think that's my fate. Yang held Kuihua's hand and said, "Mom, we should never feel resigned to fate, nor should we belittle ourselves. No successful person has never failed. Likewise, no lady is born a lady." If Yang had given in to fate, she wouldn't have become Coni in her previous life. She had been lying low for 10 years before she made a name for herself. No one knew what she had gone through behind her glamorous exterior. Therefore, Yang had to correct Kuihua's mistaken belief and let her know that nothing is impossible in this world. Tsuehua looked at Yang and nodded earnestly. Following dinner, Yang went to settle the bill. 5 dishes for 158 yuan. When the figure was announced, Tsuehua startled. 158 yuan. That's equivalent to an ordinary worker's salary for 5 months. Although she was taken aback, Tsuehua didn't say much about it. Chapter 283, Strolling Together in the Temple Fair, Elderly Zheng begins the investigation _6. After returning home, Mrs. Zheng took out a photo that she had treasured for over 30 years from the Bible. The child in the photo wore a small belly band, with a golden bracelet on his hand, looking adorably naive. It really does look like her. Mrs. Zheng's face was instantly flushed with tears. After a while, she called butler Lu Zhaokong. Lu Zhaokong was an old retainer of the Zheng family. He joined the family when he was 16 and now he was 56. His only son also worked as a driver for the Zheng family, so Mrs. Zheng trusted him. "Butler Lu, I need you to do something for me." Lu Zhaokong answered respectfully, "Whatever you say, madam." Mrs. Zheng said, "I need you to look into someone." She gave Lu Zhaokong detailed instructions and finally emphasized, "Get it done discreetly. It should only be known to you and me, so don't alert anyone." Lu Zhaokong nodded, "Madam, rest assured that I will handle the matter carefully. I guarantee that it will be done thoroughly and properly. I also wish you an early reunion with your daughter." Mrs. Zheng couldn't help crying again at his words and waved him off weakly. "Go ahead." Lu Zhaokong turned and left Mrs. Zheng's bedroom. On the 3rd day of the new year, Lin Pingping and Wang Meifeng's family, carrying large and small bags, came to the Ni family to wish them a happy new year. The 3rd day of the new year was a very significant day, usually reserved for visiting the most important relatives. But to Lin Pingping and Wang Meifeng's family, Yang was like their lifesaver. There were no relatives more important than her. That's why they chose this day to visit Yang's family to express their respect for her. "Sister Yang, Auntie Hua, Auntie Ni, Happy New Year." Yang Guobao ran in cheerfully. "Oh, and little Yunyan, Happy New Year to you too." Little Yun opened her arms, wanting Yang Guobao to hold her. Yang, Tsuehua, and Chingere came out to greet them. "Sister Tsuehua, Sister Chingere." Lin Pingping embraced Tsuehua and Chingere excitedly. After exchanging New Year greetings, they all entered the house. Yang Guobao played with little Yun. Yang went to cook, while Lin Pingping, Chingere, and Wang Meifeng helped her. Tsuehua and Zhou Suhua were left in the living room for a chat. Although Zhou Suhua used to be a leader and used to put on airs when dealing with others, she was down-to-earth and friendly when interacting with Tsuehua. They had many common topics and there were no obstacles in their conversation. With the help of Lin Pingping, Wang Meifeng, and Ching, Yang cooked a large table full of dishes. They all had a great time and stayed until evening before going home. On the 6th day of the new year, Yang visited Tai Dan and Guochang's home in the village. Yang went to invite their mothers to help in the milk tea shop and the noodle restaurant. In the new year, Yang increased their wages by 5 yuan, from 60 yuan to now 65 yuan. Anybody would be a fool to decline such a high salary. Upon hearing this, Guochang's mother, Zhao Xiaolan, and Tai Dan's mother, Wang Yumei, were extremely grateful to Yang. And just like that, it was already the 8th day of the new year. The arrival of the 8th day also marks the end of the New Year celebration, and work resumes ordinarily. Today is the first day of business for the milk tea shop and the noodle restaurant after the new year. In the morning, when Yang arrived at her shop, she set off 2 strings of firecrackers to signify prosperity and wish for a successful year from start to end. The business on the first day of the new year was booming. Everyone had been feasting for 8 days straight, and they now just wanted to eat to their heart's content. There were cheerful laughter inside and outside the shop. Since coming to work in the morning, Zhou Hua has been staring blankly outside the door, as if eagerly looking forward to something. In fact, she had been looking forward to it since the first day of the Lunar New Year. Because that young lady promised to come over after the New Year. She had waited 8 days a year, but that young lady had never shown up. Damn it! Was it really a result of her previous attitude that had disappointed the young lady? Zhou Hua felt mixed emotions, extremely distressed. If only time could be turned back, she would definitely kill her stupid past self. Just as Zhou Hua was on the verge of despair, a familiar figure suddenly appeared at the door. It was that young lady. Zhou Hua was overjoyed. Though she had only seen her once, but that young lady was just so beautiful that Zhou Hua remembered her at a glance. Zhou Hua immediately greeted her, young lady, you're finally here. I've been waiting for you for so many days." To tell the truth, Zhou Hua's reaction was within Ni Yan's expectation as she had enough confidence in her products. Otherwise, she wouldn't have chosen to rent a store in this big mall. Ni Yan looked apologetic. "I'm sorry to have kept you waiting. I left in a hurry last time and didn't tell you the exact time." Zhou Hua was surprised. Initially she thought Ni Yan would use this incident to tease her because she was at fault in the first place. With how effective the skincare product was, if Ni Yan was to make things difficult for her, she would have no other option but to endure it. Zhou Hua was even prepared for Ni Yan to give her a hard time. However, Ni Yan not only didn't make things difficult for her, she even took all the blame onto herself. This young lady was astonishing and seemed to have something extraordinary about her. Admiration began to show in Zhou Hua's eyes. It's okay, as long as you have come. I was afraid that you would not come. After all, I was a bit abrupt last time. I apologize for what happened last time, little miss, you must not take it to heart." Since Ni Yan was so broad-minded, she couldn't be petty and had to avoid making a bad impression on Ni Yan. After all, she still wanted to buy the skincare product from Ni Yan in the future. Ni Yan laughed. "Auntie, you're being too serious. By the way, can I rent a new store now?" Yes. Zhou Hua nodded eagerly. "You see, I completely forgot about this when I got excited. I will take you to the store to have a look now." Ni Yan smiled slightly. "Auntie, please lead the way." While walking, Zhou Hua introduced the store to Ni Yan, and in no time, they arrived at the store's location. As Zhou Hua said, this store was in the best position in the skincare product area on the entire second floor. During the conversation, Zhou Hua had already learned Ni Yan's name, Yaneng. This store is 138 yuan a month. The contract period is 3 years, 5 years, and up to 10 years. Of course, if you want to sign a shorter contract, there is also a 1-year option. Ni Yan responded without hesitation, "I want to sign for 10 years. If she signed for 10 years, it meant that the store's rent would not increase for 10 years. As far as Ni Yan knew, the male's rent would continuously rise a year later and would keep increasing until it reached 6 figures. Ni Yan was no fool. Of course she would choose to sign a longer lease. Zhou Hua was taken aback, then stated, "If you sign a 10-year contract, you need to first pay a deposit of 10,000 yuan. 10,000 yuan was not a small number. Zhou Hua was a bit worried that Ni Yan might not be able to afford it. Although Ni Yan had just bought a house recently, she still had the money to pay the deposit. Ni Yan nodded her head with a smile. "Yes, no problem." Zhou Hua did not expect Ni Yan to be able to afford even 10,000 yuan, but considering how popular her skincare product was, being able to afford 10,000 yuan didn't seem strange. They successfully signed the contract, paid the deposit, and Ni Yan received the keys to the store. Zhou Hua laughed and said, "Lang, congratulations. I wish you prosperous business, abundant wealth, and continuous fortune." "Thank you, Auntie." Ni Yan handed the skincare gift box in her hand to Zhou Hua. "Auntie, thank you for your hard work on this matter. Wishing you a happy new year and everlasting youth." Chapter 284. Beat up the drowning dog, protect Yang. _1 Ni Yang just gave Zhou Hua a box of tender skin radiance last time, and this time, Zhou Hua adamantly refused to accept it once again. Tender skin radiance was such a popular product. The anti-wrinkle cream and whitening moisturizer in the box alone were worth over 200 yuan. If she were to accept it again, it would be a bit unreasonable. Yang, I haven't even finished using the tender skin radiance you gave me last time. Please take this back. Ni Yang smiled and replied, Auntie, you've done me such great favor. This skincare set is the least I can offer. If you don't need it now, you can give it to relatives or friends. Seeing Ni Yang's insistence, Zhou Hua had no choice but to accept, her admiration for Ni Yang deepening even more. This young woman was not only beautiful but also knew how to handle interpersonal relationships well. If it were someone else, who would be willing to give out boxes of such sought-after beauty product like tender skin radiance? A box costs nearly 400 yuan. Zhou Hua then asked, Oh, Yang, when are you planning to open your store? My colleagues are all looking forward to buying your tender skin radiance. Ni Yang replied, I'm having people come to refurbish it tomorrow. I'm planning to open it on the second day of the next month. The second day of the second month is considered as the dragon raising its head according to Chinese mythology. The Chinese place great importance on this day. Choosing to open a business on this day was also to obtain a good omen. Zhou Hua nodded in approval. The second day of the second month, when the dragon lifts its head, the barns will be full, a good day indeed. Yang, your business will surely prosper after it opens. Ni Yang smiled subtly, Thank you for your kind words, Auntie. As she had to deal with the matters of the noodle restaurant and the milk tea shop in the afternoon, Ni Yang didn't stay long. After saying goodbye, she left. Zhou Hua courteously escorted Ni Yang to the mall entrance. Now that there were 2 more people at the noodle restaurant and the milk tea shop, it wasn't as tiring when it got busy. On the first day after the New Year's holiday, Ni Yang's daily turnover reached 3,560 yuan. However, because she had just bought a house and paid a deposit of 10,000 yuan today, plus today's sales, Ni Yang only had 5,000 yuan left over. 5,000 yuan might not mean much to Ni Yang, but for the average family, it's a considerable amount. Ni Yang went to Wang Tainia's house with 1,500 yuan, intending to hand over the renovation work completely to Wang Tiniu. Wang Tiniu was honest and serious about his work, so Ni Yang trusted him a lot. Wang Tiniu warmly welcomed Ni Yang. Yang, rest assured, just leave this matter to Uncle Tiniu, I promise to do a great job for you. Then it'll be imposing on Uncle Tiniu. I'll get going now. As Wang Tiniu escorted Ni Yang out, he said, Yang, you're too polite, this is something I should do anyway. Ni Yang was generous and considerate, she had given invaluable help to his family. Wang Tiniu was really grateful for her. After returning home, Ni Yang began to prepare dinner. Every day during the Chinese New Year was feasting on rich dishes, so Ni Yang decided to prepare something light. For the main course, she prepared mushroom and bok choy porridge. Mushroom and bok choy porridge is not only delicious and refreshing, but also has various health benefits. The Compendium of Materia Medica states, mushrooms are neutral in nature and sweet in taste, they can nourish and satisfy hunger, treat blood circulation and regulate energy, enhance appetite and control frequent urination. Modern medical research shows that mushrooms also have anti-cancer effects. Having a pretty face and a perfect body is not enough, one must also have a healthy body. In her previous life, there were many cancer patients, so Ni Yang must take preventive measures. She let the mushroom and bok choy porridge simmer in the casserole, then Ni Yang began to prepare the stir-fry dishes. First, Ni Yang made spicy pickled radish skin. The radish skin had been pickled by Ni Tsuihua before the winter. While Ni Tsuihua was not skilled at pickling sauerkraut, her pickled radish skin was crisp and delicious, good enough to go with several bowls of rice. Moreover, there is a popular saying, eat radish in winter and ginger in summer, and you won't need a doctor's prescription. This shows how useful radish can be. Next, Ni Yang made asparagus and sautéed pork slices in sauce. According to traditional Chinese medicine, asparagus not only has the effect of treating spleen and stomach heat, thirst, urinary incontinency, and urinary tract pain, but also has the effect of treating hair loss and dry hair caused by blood dryness. With rising stress, hair loss becomes more severe, and asparagus can prevent hair loss. After cooking the asparagus, Yang immediately made stir-fried shrimp. Shrimp doesn't need much explanation. It's good for the breasts. It not only helps to enlarge the breasts, but also effectively prevents sagging. After preparing these dishes, Yang saw that there were some extra dumplings left over from the previous few days in the cabinet, so she fried a few dumplings as well. Chapter 285. Beat up the drowning dog, protect Xianxia. _2. Including the pan-fried dumplings, there were altogether 4 dishes. They were light and delicate, effectively eliminating the greasiness that had been accumulating in Xianxia and Quihua's stomachs for the past few days, making them feel pleasantly relaxed. Auntie I have something to discuss with you. Putting down her chopsticks, Yang looked up at Xianxia. Xianxia smiled and said, "What is it, Yang?" Yang continued, "I've recently rented a shop in our city's Olay Mall, planning to open a physical store for crystal clear beauty." "That's great news," exclaims Xianxia. "Your crystal clear beauty products are so popular now, I'm sure the physical store will do very well too." Seeing Yang's business growing bigger and bigger, Xianxia was genuinely happy for her. Yang said, "Auntie, I want to hire you as the store manager." She had been considering this for a long time. Xianxia was skillful and business-minded. That's why she was able to sell Yang's crystal clear beauty products so well. What's more, Yang completely trusted Xianxia. If she had to leave the shop to someone else, she wouldn't be at ease. "Store manager?" Xianxia was initially taken aback before laughing. Yang, I appreciate your trust in me, but I might not be suited for the job." She couldn't possibly be a store manager. In her current job, she was just a clerk. Her everyday tasks were filing forms and answering phone calls, not exactly high-skilled work. Xianxia genuinely feared she wouldn't be suitable. "Auntie, you can do it," Yang said earnestly. "You know crystal clear beauty better than anyone aside from me. Moreover, I don't have anyone else I can trust. Auntie, if you don't help me, then no one will." Originally, Xianxia was going to continue rejecting the offer, but Yang's last sentence made her hesitate. Since Yang trusted her so much, she couldn't let her down. "All right, Yang. If you insist, I'll give it a go." After a moment, Xianxia added, "But I might not be able to start right away. I have to give my current employer a month's notice." Yang smiled. "There's no rush, the shop is still being renovated. We're looking to open on the 2nd day of next month." "That's good." Yang then took out a prepared contract. "Auntie if you agree with the terms, let's sign the contract." Xianxia took the contract and was taken aback by its contents. "Yang, why is my salary so high? 208 yuan a month." The contract also stated that for every skincare product she sells, she would get a 50-cent commission. Judging by the popularity of crystal clear beauty, she could easily earn 400 to 500 yuan a month. 400 to 500 yuan a month, it was a salary Xianxia couldn't even dream of. Yang laughed, "Because you're worth the high salary, Auntie. Finding a good business partner isn't easy. If this were another time and place, Xianxia would definitely be a top salesperson." Yang knew how to win people over and was willing to invest in them. Xianxia said, "No way, Yang. Your salary offer is too high. I can't accept it. If you insist on this, I won't feel comfortable signing the contract." Even though Xianxia liked money, she felt undeserving of such a high salary. Yang's money didn't come easy. Instead of answering Xianxia's statement directly, Yang laughed and asked, "Auntie, do you think I'm a fool?" Xianxia paused before saying, "No way. Yang, how could you be a fool? If you were, there wouldn't be any smart people left in the world." Yang faintly smiled. "Exactly because I'm not a fool, I wouldn't make a loss. That's why I'm offering you this salary. It's because you are truly worth it. Auntie, if you refuse again, you're just being unnecessarily distant." "Auntie, surely you would prefer to not let me hire a stranger?" Ni Yang had made her point so strongly, it would be pointless to refuse any longer. Ni Chengge laughed and said, all right, I'll sign. With that, Ni Chengge signed her name on the contract. After the contract was signed, Ni Yang said, Auntie Ni, having only you as the store manager won't be enough for the skincare shop. We need to hire 3 more salespeople. If you know anyone suitable, you can sign the contract directly with them. The salary will be 60 yuan a month. Chapter 286, Beat Up the Drowning Dog, Protect Xianxia. _3. Ni Chengge nodded, sure, Aunt can be responsible for it. Considering the high salary Ni Yang paid her monthly, she ought to take responsibility. On the 9th day of the year, Ni Yang's skincare shop began its formal renovations. A 60-square-meter shop, with a renovation period of 21 days. Since a physical store was being opened, the production of whitening, moisturizing creams, and wrinkle creams would naturally have to increase. Therefore, Ni Yang planned on adding 100 more boxes to the initially planned 30. This means that whitening moisturizing creams and anti-wrinkle creams will each be limited to 130 boxes per month, totaling 260 boxes when combined. Whereas facial cleansers, aloe vera gel, and acne and spot removing creams are supplied without any limit. Before the physical store was opened, facial cleansers and aloe vera gel were consistently selling out. With a physical store now, these skincare products will surely sell even better. So Ni Yang must prepare in advance to avoid running out of stock. The ingredients Ni Yang uses in her skincare products are all natural plants. The most commonly used are milk, aloe vera, and portulaca. Since Ni Yang had previously started buying aloe in the village, most villagers started planting a fair amount of aloe at home. However, for portulaca, Ni Yang still had to go to the vegetable market. Instead of buying outside, it'd be better to buy everything in the village. This not only ensures that benefits don't go to outsiders, but it also boosts Jinghua Village's economic development. While having dinner, Ni Yang was eating and thinking about this matter. Mom, tell everyone tomorrow that our family will not only buy aloe, but also roses and portulaca. Fresh roses are 60 cents per jean and portulaca is 30 cents per jean. Hearing this, Ni asked in confusion, Yang, what do you need roses for? Ni Yang replied with a smile, for making rose hydrosol. Our ice muscle jade skin physical store is about to open soon, and I want to develop a new product. Aside from making rose hydrosol, Ni Yang also wanted to make a high-end perfume with roses. But this plan had to be postponed because if roses were planted now, it would not bloom until May. Ni nodded, all right, I will tell everyone tomorrow. The next day, when Ni informed everyone about Ni Yang's plan to buy portulaca and roses, everyone was thrilled. Firstly because portulaca and roses were easier to care for than rice plants, and many complicated procedures like plowing, planting seedlings, harvesting rice, drying rice, etc. were eliminated. Secondly, the price was higher. At this time, 100 jean of rice was only sold for 6 yuan at the grain station. No wonder the life of farmers was so tough. 100 jean of rice was sold for 6 yuan, but 100 jean of roses could be sold for 60 yuan. This increased the profits by 10-fold. In addition, portulaca is a weed, so not only can roses be planted on a piece of land, the ground underneath the roses can also be planted with portulaca. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone. This way, 1 mu of land could earn at least 200 to 300 yuan. Previously, each mu of land could only make 20 to 30 yuan. This way, everyone's annual income could be at least 2,000 to 3,000 yuan. In the past, this was unimaginable. After all, in the past, everyone's annual income was only 100 to 200 yuan. Those who could actually spend wisely would have dozens of yuan saved as a best-case scenario. After Ni Zihua left, everyone exclaimed that Ni Zihua must have accumulated good karma in her past life to have such an excellent daughter as Ni Yang in this life. Who wouldn't envy Ni Zihua in the village now? In fact, not only villagers envied Ni Zihua, people from other villages also envied the people of Jinghua village. Who wouldn't want such a lucky star that could boost the entire village economy? The second day Enai Chingre went to work, he handed in his resignation to his manager. At this time, being a clerk at the tram company was equivalent to being a public servant in the future, indeed a stable job. There was even a retired pension. Therefore, his colleagues could not understand why Enai Chingre wanted to resign. Jia Lan, a colleague who got along well with Enai Chingre, said, "Chingre, if you regret it now, it's not too late. How could you give up such a stable job so easily?" Enai Chingre laughed. "Xiaolan, I don't regret it." Jia Lan sighed. Enai Chingre continued, "Xiaolan, why don't you quit too? Then come to work with me, the salary is double what you're making here." Jia Lan widened her eyes incredulously. "Chi, have you gone mad? You're actually asking me to work for an individual business operator." Working for an individual business operator was already considered the lowest level job. One can only imagine how humble it must have been to work for one. Chapter 287. Beat up the drowning dog, protect Xianxia. _4. Jia Lan had a great sense of self-respect. She could not afford to lose face in this way. To each his own, Enai Chingre wasn't upset. He laughed and said, "What's wrong with being a sole proprietor? The skin whitening and moisturizing cream you love to use was invented by a sole proprietor. Without them, would you have access to such great products?" Jia Lan continued, "That's different. I would never work for a sole proprietor." Enai Chingre said, "The opportunity won't come again once it's gone. Are you sure you want reconsider?" Jia Lan said, "No need to reconsider, even if I don't care about face, our family's old Zhang does." Hearing this, Enai Chingre seemed to recall something and then asked, "Oh right, Xiaolan, did you ask your husband about that thing I asked you to check?" Jia Lan replied, "I did. Old Zhang said he'll check with his supervisor after school starts. The policies change every year. He can't confirm right now whether they will accept transfer students in senior year." Jia Lan was a responsible person. Once she promised something to Enai Chingre, she made sure to fulfill it thoroughly. Enai Chingre nodded. "You must take this matter seriously. Our relative's child is waiting to take the college entrance exam next year." "Sure." Jia Lan continued. "Speaking of, how old is that child of your relatives this year? Are they old enough to take the exam? Boy or girl? Are they smart?" 18. Enai Chingre continued, "It's a girl. Let me tell you, there's no smarter child around for miles." Jia Lan just thought Enai Chingre was bragging and chuckled. "Rest assured, I've got this covered." Enai Yang didn't go to the noodle restaurant or the milk tea shop today. Instead, she stayed home studying eye cream formulas. The rose extract couldn't be made in a short time, so she had to create a new product to prepare for the grand opening. She planned to offer some promotional giveaways on the opening day. This way, she could win people's hearts and gain customers. Why not? It took Enai Yang 3 whole days at home to invent an eye cream intended to lighten dark circles. After she developed the product, as always, she first gave it to the people close to her to try before officially selling it. Time flew by and half a month had passed. The opening day of the skincare shop was approaching. On February 2nd, the day of the dragon's head, erected. On the day when her skincare shop, Flawless Fair Skin, opened, Enai Yang did not show up as the boss. She left everything to Enai Chingre. Knowing that Flawless Fair Skin was opening on February 2nd, Zhou Hua came early in the morning. She didn't come empty-handed, she brought a gift. Enai Yang had been so kind to her, she couldn't afford to be stingy in return. "Is Xianxia here?" The 3 young girls in the store looked at each other, all puzzled. They had never met Enai Yang, so they naturally didn't know who Xianxia was. Just then, Enai Chingre came out from inside. "Hello, are you the Miss Zhou that Xianxia has mentioned?" Enai Yang had told Enai Chingre about Zhou Hua. Being smart, Enai Chingre knew that Zhou Hua had a unique position and could help Enai Yang in the future. She was not to be offended. Zhou Hua nodded. "Yes, I am." "And you are?" Enai Chingre said with a smile. "I am the store manager here, and also Yang Yang's aunt. Yang told me all about you this morning, how you've helped her out a lot. She said I have to thank you properly when I see you." Zhou Hua shyly replied, Yang is too polite. I didn't help her much at all." On the contrary, she helped me a lot. You have no idea how bad my skin used to be. Ever since I started using Yang skincare products, it's like I'm back to being 18. With that, Zhou Hua handed the gift box in her hands to Xianxia. This is a business opening gift for Yang. I hope you'll accept it. Miss Zhou, you're too kind. I will accept this on behalf of Yang. Thank you. As it was a business opening gift, she had no reason to refuse. Zhou Hua's intention was to deliver the gift. Now that her mission was accomplished, she excused herself, intending to go back to work. She said goodbye to Xianxia and started to leave. Xianxia caught up with Zhou Hua and handed her a beautiful glass jar. Miss Zhou, this is the eye cream that Yang newly developed. Please take it and give it a try. What Xianxia gave her was not a trial size but the fully packaged regular size. Chapter 288, Beat Up the Drowning Dog, Protect Yang. _5. Although Zhou Hua was quite tempted, he still refused. Miss, you are too polite. I really can't accept any more. Xianxia said with a smile, just accept it. This is a new product, limited in availability. In the future, we will have many things that need your help. Hearing this, Zhou Hua had no choice but to reluctantly accept it. At 10 in the morning, the mall officially opened for business, and so did Ice Skin Jade Skin. Thanks to the previous promotional efforts by Lin Pingping and Wang Meifeng, and the excellent reputation of Ice Skin Jade Skin, half of the wrinkle cream and whitening moisturizer were sold on the opening day. The day's turnover reached almost 20,000 yuan. The turnover from just the whitening moisturizer and the wrinkle cream was more than 14,000 yuan. The rest came from the sales of facial cleanser and other skincare products. The second day was not as strong as the first day with a turnover of over 5,000 yuan. The third day was over 8,000 yuan. As more and more people found out about the physical store of Ice Skin Jade Skin, within a week, the 260 boxes of whitening moisturizer and wrinkle cream were sold out. The business at the physical store was getting better and better. However, Yang did not increase the production of wrinkle cream and whitening cream. After all, things are precious when scarce. Although the whitening cream and wrinkle cream were sold out, other products like facial cleanser and aloe vera gel sold well, maintaining a daily turnover of around 3,000 yuan. As a large amount of skincare products were needed every day, and Xianxia alone couldn't handle it, so Yang hired 2 young women from Jinghua village to help, paying them 2.5 yuan per day. In mid-February, Yang completed the house design drawings and started to hire people to build the house. Yang took the drawings to Wang Tiniu. Although Wang Tiniu didn't know many characters, he was an excellent bricklayer. He understood the design drawings at a glance and exclaimed, Yang, not only is your design beautiful, it's also very scientific. The house you're going to build will definitely be beautiful. Wang Tiniu had built many houses, but this was the first time he knew that a house could be built so beautifully. He didn't expect that Yang, an 18-year-old girl, had broader experience and knowledge than an adult like him. It's truly remarkable. Wang Tiniu silently admired and also decided in his heart that he would build such a house when he had the money in the future. Thanks, Uncle Tiniu, said Yang. By the way, how much does it cost to build a house like this? How long should the construction period last? Wang Tiniu did a rough calculation and replied, Yang, prepare around 20,000 yuan. The structure of your house is a bit complex. It will probably take about 4 to 5 months to complete. Yang nodded. Okay, no problem. Then Uncle Tiniu, let's start work tomorrow. All right. Early the next morning, Wang Tiniu brought his workers. To invite good fortune, Yang set off a long string of firecrackers. After setting off the firecrackers, Yang gave each worker a pack of Dakianman cigarettes. Although other workers would also distribute cigarettes, they would hand them out one by one. It was unusual for someone like Yang to distribute them by the pack. Everyone exclaimed that Yang was indeed very generous. At noon, Yang prepared a big table full of dishes, including fish, meat, and chicken. It was even more sumptuous than the New Year's meal. These workers are labor-intensive, and if they don't eat well, they simply have no energy to work. Yang has never been the stingy type. People are reciprocal. If you treat me well, I will reciprocate. Not only does Yang offer high wages, she also provides a wonderful meal. Naturally, they wouldn't dare disappoint Yang in their work. They would work hard and conscientiously, as if they were doing the work of 3 people. Looking at Yang opening a noodle restaurant and a milk tea shop, Sun Chuanxiang was burning with envy. If robbery wasn't illegal, she would love to just take all of Yang's money. But now, she has a way to get the secret formula. Sun Chuanxiang carefully observed that at around 2 p.m. every day, Wang Jinfang would come to the dump to dump rubbish once. Wang Jinfang is stingy and greedy, so Sun Chuanxiang targeted her. At 1:50 p.m., Sun Chuanxiang came to the dump. By 1:58 p.m., Wang Jinfang arrived carrying 2 large bags of garbage. Sun Chuanxiang immediately stepped forward, enthusiastically took the garbage bags from Wang Jinfang's hand. Big sister, you're here to dump the garbage again. Chapter 289. Beat up the drowning dog, protect Xianxia. _6. Wang Jinfang looked at Sun Chuanxiang apprehensively. Who are you? Sun Chuanxiang smiled and said, my last name is Sun. My family's shop is right on the snack street next door. Upon hearing that the person was also a businesswoman, Wang Jinfang's caution faded quite a bit. Sun Chuanxiang continued, I noticed that your shop has been busy until now. You must be very tired after a day of work, aren't you? Wang Jinfang laughed. It's okay, I'm not too tired. It's just a bit of handwork, much easier than farming. Besides, the salary that Yang gave was high. She didn't feel the slightest bit tired. How can it not be exhausting with such heavy work? Sun Chuanxiang sighed and continued, money is hard to earn these days. If it wasn't for providing for the family, which of us women would be willing to expose themselves like this? These words really hit Wang Jinfang's heart. She nodded, agreeing, sister, what you said is absolutely right. Sun Chuanxiang looked around, lowered her voice and said, little sister, I have a chance to make a fortune here. Are you interested? A chance to make a fortune? Wang Jinfang's eyes brightened. Who doesn't like money? Seeing Wang Jinfang's reaction, Sun Chuanxiang immediately believed she had a 50% chance. She took a stack of bills from her pocket and continued, here is 1,000 yuan. If you can help me with something, this money is yours. 1,000 yuan was a huge amount to Wang Jinfang. After all, she only earns 65 yuan a month now. Wang Jinfang's eyes were about to be glued to that 1,000 yuan. Sister, what do you want me to help you with? As long as I can do it, I promise you. Sun Chuanxiang organized the money in her hand. Little sister, in fact, it's not difficult for you. Can you tell me the recipe for the sour fish? As long as you give me the recipe, this 1,000 yuan is yours. Wang Jinfang got the hint, so this Sun Chuanxiang was after the recipe. Wang Jinfang felt helpless. I'm just a worker, how would I know the recipe? Sun Chuanxiang continued, little sister, I believe that if you want to know, you will find a way. Wang Jinfang was helping Yang's noodle restaurant. If she wanted to know the recipe, she just needed to pay a little attention, it wouldn't be hard at all. After a pause, Sun Chuanxiang said, little sister, if you think the money is too little, I can add another 500. 1,500 yuan was all of Sun Xianxiang's savings. She was reluctant to part with it. But thinking about it from another angle, if she knew Yang's recipe, not to mention 1,005, even 15,000 or 150,000 wouldn't be a problem. As the old saying goes, no pain, no gain. Wang Jinfang was greedy to begin with. This was sure to work. Wang Jinfang frowned slightly. Are you saying you want me to betray Xianxia? Sun Chuanxiang laughed. How can this be considered betrayal? This is having everyone make money together. I sell noodles on the street over there, you sell here, it won't affect Yang's business. Besides, my business can't compete with Yang's. Furthermore, if you don't say anything and I don't say anything, who would know that you gave me the recipe? Little sister, you must think about it carefully, a total of 1,500 yuan. Once this village is passed, there will be no such shop. Seeing Wang Jinfang's indecisive look, Sun Chuanxiang changed her tone and continued, "Little sister, you surely know how much an I Yang's noodle restaurant earns. Think about it, how much does she give you a month? This young girl an I Yang has absolutely no conscience. Could she earn that much money in a day without you? In my opinion, she should at the very least give you a monthly salary of 1,500 yuan. Since she is so heartless, you don't have to be generous to her. Sun Chuanxiang may lack many skills, but she's absolutely proficient at distorting facts and sowing discord." Seeing that Wang Jinfang's complexion sinking more and more, the smile on Sun Chengxiang's face deepened. It was about time that contemptible girl and a Yang got her comeuppance. Wang Jinfang pushed Sun Chuanxiang away and cursed, "Go away, you nasty piece of shit. Shameless. With such poor skills as yours, you're trying to sow discord in front of me? Don't think that I don't know what you're up to. You're just jealous of Yang Yang. You want to steal Yang Yang's business. 1,500 yuan? Even if you give me 15,000 yuan, I wouldn't do such a filthy act as betraying someone." Chapter 290. Beat up the drowning dog, protect Yang Yang. _7 Sun Chuanxiang didn't see it coming and was pushed straight to the ground by Wang Jinfang, her joints aching from the fall. And that wasn't all. Before leaving, Wang Jinfang spat on Sun Chuanxiang and sneered, "Ha, cheap tramp." Although Wang Jinfang loved money, enjoyed taking advantages, playing little tricks, and behaved shrewdly and aggressively, it could never be possible for her to betray an I Yang. An I Yang was their village's lucky star. She may betray anyone, but not an I Yang. Not only would she not betray an I Yang, but she would also keep an eye on the business for her, guarding against anyone who might betray an I Yang out of greed or temptation. If anyone dared to sell their conscience and do something treacherous to an I Yang, she would tear them apart herself. Sun Chuanxiang hadn't anticipated such a reaction from Wang Jinfang. Not only did she fail to get the lamb she wanted, but she also wound up in deep trouble. Had she not offered enough money? It was a full 1,500 yuan. For perspective, that was 50 times the monthly wage of an average worker and enough to pay for 4 years' wages. What exactly had an I Yang done to make Wang Jinfang so loyal to her? Infuriated, Sun Chuanxiang was almost bursting. Undoing the buttons of her coat, she took it off, soaked with spit, and walked away cursing obscenities. Initially, Wang Jinfang didn't take it seriously, let her curse, it wasn't skin off her nose. But when N.I. Yang's name was mentioned, she lost her cool. It was one thing to curse her, but to disrespect N.I. Yang? She wouldn't stand for it. Wang Jinfang quickly turned around and charged at Sun Chuanxiang, grabbing her hair. "Who the hell told you to insult N.I. Yang? You cheap slut. Your whole family is trash." Wang Jinfang was known for her many fights with the women in the village. Avoiding any visible areas like her face or head and aiming for the private parts, she hurt Sun Chuanxiang, who was screaming out in pain without leaving any trace of injury. It was afternoon, everyone was either resting or working and the dumping ground was remote. No one came to Sun's aid despite her desperate screams. "Stop, stop. I'll never do it again." In desperation, Sun Chuanxiang pled for mercy. Only then did Wang Jinfang stop, feeling satisfied. "If I hear you bad-mouthing N.I. Yang again, I'll tear your filthy mouth," she warned. I won't anymore." Sun Chuanxiang whimpered like a drenched dog. Wang Jinfang dusted her hands off and walked away. Upon returning to the noodle restaurant, Wang Jinfang stayed vigilant in case Sun Chuanxiang sought help. Today had been truly infuriating for Sun Chuanxiang. Not only did she fail to achieve her goal, but she was also beaten. She couldn't bear the embarrassment if this got out. In the mall. Although the shop Ice Skin Jade Face wasn't always busy, they rarely failed to make a sale when a customer came in. And each transaction was above 120 yuan. As skincare products often sold as sets. And Cheng'e was applying lipstick when a familiar voice filled the air. "Cheng'e." Looking up, she saw her old colleague, Jialan. "Xiaolan," exclaimed Cheng'e, "aren't you supposed to be at work today?" Jialan chuckled. "I swapped shifts with someone to come to see how you're doing here. How's your job?" "Not bad." Enai Chingue nodded. Actually, you could tell that Enai Chingue was far better off working here than at the tram company. Embellished with golden necklaces, earrings, rings, you couldn't even guess her actual age. She exuded luxury and class. And her skin condition was extraordinarily good. Looking around the store, Jia Lan regretted not accepting Enai Chingue's invitation before. However, prestigious as this place was, in the end, it was a job at a private business. Saying she worked at the tram company still carried more prestige. With her mind racing, Jia Lan spoke up, "Chengye, I'm here to talk about the transfer student issue. My husband said there will be an entrance exam for the city high school in June. If the grades are up to par, you could be admitted as a transfer student and sit the National University entrance exam next year." Given her husband's position, it was possible for Enai Yang to get directly into his class without an exam. However, if her marks were poor, they might affect the class overall results and his reputation as an excellent teacher. Therefore, he had given up on the inside track and suggested that Enai Yang take the entrance exam. "Really?" asked Enai Chingue, visibly excited. Jia Lan laughed. "Do I have any reason to lie? The entrance exam is 3 more months down the line. Encourage your relative's kid to hit the books. I have already reserved a spot for her. Her admission as a transfer student depends on her." "Xiaolan, I can't thank you enough," said Enai Chingue, hugging Jia Lan in excitement. Even though Jia Lan had only helped her with a reservation, it alleviated a lot of unavoidable trouble. For an outsider, registering for the local school's transfer student entrance exam was not easy. It would necessitate calling on contacts. Jia Lan laughed and said, "Come on, we've been colleagues for many years. Why the formality? Oh, I heard that Ice Skin Jade Face has a new product out. Is that right?" Jia Lan was no charity worker. She wouldn't help Enai Yang sign up for nothing. Enai Chingue was no fool and she understood Jia Lan's implications immediately. She quickly handed over a box of eye cream to Jia Lan. "Yes, this limited edition eye cream. It's the last one this month. It'll give you a 50% discount." Jia Lan glanced at the price tag. 108 yuan. This meant she just saved a whopping 54 yuan. You're tuning in to the Wandering Hero YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.